your hair, perfume you wear, brings back memories of you and me. You look so fine, you blow my mind all over again.
Please, I want to find out if Dr. Agnes Yemisi Asabra is around. Oh, you're welcome, ma. Please, that is not your appropriate seat, ma. Your seat is in front beside Prof. Please kindly take up your honored position, madam. It's not easy. I understand you flew all the way from, it's not, we are going to give you your due honor, madam. Please, so please kindly take your seat close to Prof. Thank you.
Through love and you, girl, fire and desire will burn in you forevermore. Rock me tonight for old time's sake, baby, roll with me tonight. For old time's sake, would you ride with me tonight? For old time's sake, sweet baby, roll with me tonight. For old time's sake. Come on and rock.
Initially, it was clear for me.
I did my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough.
Those people that wanted
Here
me
we are
to
back
come to
where we
Lagos.
were before.
Now, those people that wanted me to come to Lagos,
Seems nothing ever changes.
they were not ready to
Back to
sponsor my
being strangers,
guy.
wondering if we ought to stay or head on out the door. Just once, can we figure out what we keep doing wrong? Why we never last for very long? What are we doing wrong? Just once, can we find a way to finally make it? gave my all, but I think my all may have been too much. The Lord knows we're not getting anywhere. Seems we're always blowing whatever we've got going, and it seems at times with all we've got, we haven't got a prayer. Just once, can we figure out what we keep doing wrong? Why the good times never last for long? Where are we going wrong? Just once, can we find a way to finally make it right? Make the magic last for more than just one night. Though we could break through it if we could just get to it just once.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be starting in another few minutes, so just to let you to be aware. I understand different of our dignitaries are already in the house. This is going to be an exciting moment. We're still expecting more of our delegates, so please do bear with us for a few moments. This is a specialized conference. It's not an all-comers affair, so you can understand how important it is that we have a very designated crowd that would certainly be here today. But we're glad that our chief host is obviously here, wonderful Finn, and we want to say a big thank you to every single one of you as well.
There's nowhere to hide your love. I remember forever. But don't make me close one more door. I don't wanna hurt anymore. Stay in my arms if you dare. I must stay imagine you there. Don't walk away from me. I have nothing, nothing, nothing. Don't make me close one more door. I don't wanna hurt anymore. Stay in my arms if you dare. I must stay imagine you there. Don't walk away from me. Don't walk away from me. Don't you dare walk away from me.
We belong together, and you know that I'm right. Why do you play with my heart? Why do you play with my mind? Said we'd be forever, said it never died. How could you love me and leave me and never say goodbye? And I can't sleep at night without holding you tight. Girl, each time I try, I just break down and cry. Pain in my head, oh, I'd rather be dead. Spinning around and around. Although we love to the end of the road, still I can't let go. It's unnatural. You belong to me, I belong to you. Close to the end of the road, still I can't let go. It's unnatural. You belong to me, I belong to you. Girl, I know you really love me. You just don't realize you've never been there before. It's only your first time. Maybe I'll forgive you. Maybe you'll try. We should be happy together forever. You and I.
understand how much I love you, do you? I'm here for you. I'm not out to go out there and cheat all night, just like you did, baby, but that's alright. I love you anyway, and I'm still gonna be here for you to my dying day, baby. Right now, I'm just in so much pain, baby, because you just won't come back to me, will you? Just come back to me. Yes, baby, my heart is lonely. My heart hurts, baby. Yes, I feel pain too. Baby, please.
I want you to want me. I'm going crazy knowing he will be your lover tonight. And when he comes, I'll let you go. I'll just pretend as you walk out the door. Oh no, I can't sleep. Oh no, I'm going crazy with love over you. I need you to need me. I wanna hold you, but you're holding someone else in your arms. When I close my eyes, I see your face. I'm just not sure how much my heart can erase. Oh no, I can't think. Oh no, I'm going crazy with love over you. Oh, I believe in love.
Now here I dreamed
I want the same old all I wanna do is keep on loving you. I want the same old love. There's a reason that I feel this way. All the things you do, well, it might be the things that you say. Your love never changes. It's like a picture in a frame, and it remains the same. You're undying love for me. Oh, it keeps me strong, keeps me holding on from beginning to end. 365 days of the year, I want the same old love, baby. And all I wanna do is share my life with you. I want the same old love. the same old loving. And all I wanna do, share my life with you. The same old love. From beginning to end, 365 days of the year, I want the same old love, baby. And all I wanna do, share my life with you. The same old love. From beginning to end.
The first time I saw you, oh, you look so fine. And I had a feeling one day you'd be mine. Honey, you came along and captured my heart. Now my love is somewhere lost in your kiss. When I'm all alone, it's you that I miss. Girl, a love like yours is hard to resist. Whoa. Penny lover, my love's on fire. Penny lover, you're my one desire. Tell me, baby, could this be true? That I could need someone like I need you. Nights warm and tender, lying next to you. Girl, I surrender. What more can I do? I've spent all of my life in search of your love. Now there's one more thing I'd like to say. Don't you ever take your sweet love away. Girl, I'll do anything, just please stay. Whoa, whoa. I don't understand it. Oh, what's come over me? But I'm not gonna worry, no, not anymore. 'Cause when a man's in love, he's only got one story. That's why my love is somewhere lost.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've just been given words that
Alone, it's you.
the deputy governor is going to be joining us as a case might be, and of course the governor. So what we are about to kick off is to start up today's event. It has been a great honor. AY, please can we have the sound reduced? It has been a great honor, ladies and gentlemen, to be the anchor of this wonderful conference. Last year was a very expressive interest. This year, obviously, we are taking it to the next level. Next year is going to be the 10th anniversary. The 10th anniversary is so very strategic, and this is because we will have to look at what we've done so much in the past 9 years, including this year. Hopefully, it's going to hold here in Lagos, Abuja, or who knows, somewhere out of Nigeria. However, there are words that it's going to be a huge collaboration between the GETS Consortium and, of course, the collaboration with the Lagos State Ministry of Health, and certainly the presidency of the Federation and the different health agencies are all going to be also intertwined with that. And all of this is important, ladies and gentlemen, because it helps us to be able to drive the agenda and the story that this particular matter that we are dealing with is. I want to say a big thank you to every single one of us seated here. We are all very important. And gladly, the Deputy Governor is here, ladies and gentlemen. There's a sign and a way of honor. I understand that is still coming in. It's not an easy task, as a matter of fact, to run the affairs that Lagos State is. And that also includes ensuring that we're able to create an enabling environment. However, please be mindful of other delegates. do not obstruct the views so that we can have that image and experience. So ladies and gentlemen, please can we all be upstanding as the Deputy Governor comes in? And with him is the Honorable Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, the Deputy Governor, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat is here. So please can we all put our hands together for him? AY, I hope our national anthem is on cue. Thank you very much. The Deputy Governor of Lagos State, it's good to see you, sir. The only time I read of you is some of the posts we see on social media, and that has been a huge inspiration. Please, we are going to kick off the event immediately with the national anthem. Please, can we all take our seats as we are all upstanding? AY. You can all take your seat. Thank you so very much, His Excellency the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, our Conference Deputy Chair, for being here and honoring us with his presence. And so we are going to kick off the event as always. Day one has gone yesterday. Today we are in day two, and we promise we are going to kick off immediately as the case might be. Pressmen, please, I would like to ask you guys so that we can have our moment. I know you guys want to capture the gentleman. I'm very sure he has plenty of those images also online. We can download as the case might be. Like I said earlier on, the Deputy Governor is somebody I follow. A lot of his wise sayings oftentimes are what we follow through, and we hope we can have some of that being expressed here today. One more time, you're welcome to the 9th African Conference on One Health and Biosecurity with the theme, maximizing benefits and understanding risk of synthetic biology and other emerging biotechnologies in Africa. Day one, yesterday, we had so many of the presentations that helped us capture some of the spirit of this particular event. Today is day two, and we are looking at several of those thematic areas, which include the potential of synthetic biology. We're also addressing the dual issue of research in Africa. We need to tell our own story. We're also looking at mitigating biological threats, as well as maximizing bioeconomy in Africa. We also are looking at the importance of data in enhancing health security, as well as biobanking infrastructure, as the case is with other issues that we are going to obviously dwell on. As we know, in this conference, Lagos State is playing host. And yesterday we had a little banter with our lead speaker who was saying that the pace-setter state, Oyo State, is working with Lagos State, the Center of Excellence. And we said we were not going to start any healthy rivalry. It's a collaborative spirit where Lagos and Oyo State can do so much more because we are representing the care and understanding of the African identity. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to establish the protocol as this. First and foremost, I want to say a big welcome to the conference chairman, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the Executive Governor of Lagos State. We also say a big welcome to the conference deputy chairman, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, the Deputy Governor from Lagos State. Our chief host, Professor Akin Abayomi, the Honorable Commissioner Health, Lagos State Government. And of course, the host, Dr. Olusegun Oboye, the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Ministry of Health. Our chief organizer, Dr. Dotun Bobadoye, the Chief Operating Officer of GET Consortium. Of course, our lead speaker, Professor Mayowa Owolabi, Professor and Director, Center for Genomic and Precision Medicine, University of Ibadan College of Medicine. We also recognize all of our distinguished conference speakers. And of course, the special guests in our midst, all permanent secretaries and head of agencies here in Lagos State and other states that are present here, our distinguished delegates and gentlemen and ladies of the press. We also want to quickly recognize here with us Mrs. Kemi Ogoyemi, Special Advisor to the Governor on Health, who was here yesterday. Obviously, we're expecting her to join us still. And I'm glad to announce that Dr. Agnes Yemisi Asadra, the DG CEO of National Biosafety Management Agency, is also here with us. And we want to say a big welcome to you. Ladies and gentlemen, my task here today is to ensure that we maximize today's outing, and I'm going to be a very good timekeeper. You and I know how this works. Sometimes these things make it easy when we all work collaboratively. But first and foremost, we want to say a big thank you to our sponsors. These sponsors actually have made this a reality. The collaborative relationship is with the Lagos State Ministry of Health. We want to say a big thank you. Please, can you put your hands together for the Lagos State Ministry of Health? Thank you so very much, sir, because, I mean, you've done this well for the past 4 years. And we also recognize Brook Heritage Holdings. We have here the Group Chief Executive, Mr. Femi Olukotun, in the house. Please put your hands together for them. Clap for them, clap for them. The more you clap, the more successful your business will be. It's not easy to be a sponsor. And of course, Concentric by Jingo is here also. Please put your hands together for them. Clap, 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 clap. All right. And of course, Pen Neck is in the house. Put your hands together for them. It's important we do that. Abayomi Farm Estate Affair. Put your hands together for them. They are one of our sponsors. Even the deputy governor is clapping. Why wouldn't you clap? It's okay, hold on. I still have 2 more names. 4 Point Real Estate Investment Limited. Put your hands together for them. Thank you. Peter and Jane Limited. Put your hands together for them. And of course, International Institute of Risk and Safety Management Nigeria. Put your hands together for them. I want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors who have made this a very, very successful outing. This is a very designated delegate we're dealing with in a conference that is quite specialized. We want to say a big thank you to all of you for making this work. I know that these days is not an easy task. But quickly, I would like to announce that be mindful of all your personal items, your phone, your laptops, you know what I'm talking about, handbag. Somebody left a handbag here yesterday. I couldn't carry it with me because somebody will think that what is a man carrying a woman's handbag out of a conference hall? So please make sure you have all of your personal items close to you. I want to say a big thank you also to all of the media team and the media persons in the house here. TVC, Access 24, NTA, LTV, Singing Tree, and of course the media team from the Office of the Deputy Governor, as well as the Ministry of Health. We recognize you all because your task is very important in helping us drive a lot of this content beyond this particular area. And I would like to recognize others as the program progresses, but out of respect and recognition of the fact that the Deputy Governor here has time and other affairs that he has to attend to, I would like to quickly go into the next item of our program. My name is Stephen Ipalebo Lawson. I host the NTA2 Business Matters TV series. And for this program, I'll be very much honored that we all work together in terms of time so that we're able to get this moment captured and, of course, projected out into the bigger world. And so at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, please can we put our hands together for the Chief Operating Officer of GET Consortium, Dr. Bobadoye Ayodotun, as he comes up to give the opening remarks.
Thank you very much, MC, for that very kind remarks. The Deputy Governor, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, the Chief Host and Honorable Commissioner for Health, Lagos State, Professor Akinola Abayomi, the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Ministry of Health, Dr. Olusegun Ogboye, Head of Government Parastatals, here present both at national and state level, Captains of Industry, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. It is with great joy that I welcome us again to the opening ceremony of the 9th African Conference on One Net and Biosecurity. This conference is organized by Lagos State Ministry of Health and the Global Emerging Pathogens Treatment Consortium gets. And it has been organized in different cities in Africa in the last 9 years. Over years, the conference has grown to become one of the biggest biosecurity-based conferences on the continent of Africa. We've organized this conference in Dakar, Senegal. Conference has been organized in Accra, Ghana. It has been organized in Freetown, Sierra Leone. In Abuja, Nigeria, and we are very grateful to Lagos State for hosting this conference in the last 4 years. You agree with me that there is no better time to discuss issues of biosecurity than now. In recent years, we've had increase in frequency and intensity of emerging infectious disease in our world, like we never used to know in recorded human history. From monkeypox to Lassa fever to dengue fever, to Ebola, to COVID, and to pathogen X that we know little or nothing about. The truth is that the predictions for the futures are not encouraging. Scientists have shown that, or have predicted that, we have a 40% chance of another magnitude, of another pandemic of the magnitude of COVID happening within the next 25 years, and there's a 25% chance of such magnitude of COVID happening within the next 10 years. I'm not saying this to make anybody scared, but it's just for us all stakeholders to know that we have work to do and for us to continue to prepare. The issue is not if next, the issue is when next. And that is why we have to continue to organize meetings like this, to bring all stakeholders under the same roof to discuss how we can continue to enhance our preparedness for whatsoever health emergency that may come our way. And that is exactly why we are organizing this conference today, to discuss emerging issues in the area of biosecurity. In this conference this year, we'll be focusing on emerging biotechnologies, such as gene editing, synthetic biology, nanotechnology, and other forms of emerging biotechnologies that developed countries have been using to develop their economies and develop different areas of their existence. For example, synthetic biology, which has to do with redesigning genomics of organisms to give them new ability and for them to continue to do new things that they're not used to. In medicine, developed countries have used this to mass produce drugs such as insulin, such as artemisinin, and other production. It has been used to maximize production of vaccine. In agriculture, it has been used to mass produce and improve quality and quantity of agricultural produce. Africa cannot be left behind in this new emerging biotechnologies. It is high time Africa joins the chariot. And that is why we're organizing this conference today, to start to discuss emerging issues in biotechnologies and see how Africa as a continent can work with other countries to maximize the benefits that comes from these emerging biotechnologies and reduce the challenges as much as possible. And there's no better place to start this discussion in Africa than the Center of Excellence, which is Lagos State. So Lagos State is again leading in starting discussions on emerging biotechnologies in Africa, how Africa can join the chariot and reduce the challenges that goes with this emerging biotechnology. I thank Lagos State again for hosting this conference. At the end of this conference, we are going to come up with a communique that we're going to share with stakeholders that will be useful in planning and creating direction on how Africa can maximize emerging biotechnologies and reduce the challenges that goes with it. Next year, we'll be having the 10th African Conference on One Unit about Security. And you agree with me that it's not easy to organize a conference consistently in Africa for 10 years. A lot of organizations that were started together in Dakar, Senegal 9 years ago, most of them have gone into extinction. So we're planning to organize and celebrate the 10th event, which is our 10th anniversary that will be coming on next year. And we've already started planning for that. We look forward to the support, continual support of Lagos State and other organizations here present to make sure that we celebrate our 10th year anniversary together next year. To those that traveled in from outside Lagos State, please enjoy the Center of Excellence. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dotun. Well, from those who traveled outside of Lagos, they have no other choice but to enjoy the excellence of Lagos. Lagos has so many stuff. The deputy governor is looking at me, sir. It's interesting the fact that I was born in Lagos several years ago, 4 decades or thereabout, and I was given a Yoruba name, and the Yoruba name is Oluwafemi. But I see that your own is Obafemi. So we are not related only by the Femi that's in our names. All right, but it's a beautiful thing to have you here. We want to say a big thank you to Lagos State Government, and we're very sure that 2024, pardon me, is going to be a very robust affair, and Lagos doesn't come last in a lot of this whole thing. As a matter of fact, we said yesterday that if not for the proactive stance of Lagos government several years ago, none of us perhaps might be sitting here or being here because of the Ebola crisis. And then this year, we have been looking about what 2020 was like. COVID was nobody's friend, but we're glad that Lagos, as a matter of fact, is in the forefront, especially for these health innovations. And we're glad the government is fully represented here. And a big thank you to the Honorable Commissioner, Lagos State Minister of Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, because of this very insightful platform that has been created. Ladies and gentlemen, like I always say in most events, you are not here to listen to me. You are here to listen to people far more qualified than myself. My next speaker is actually the lead speaker for this conference. He's a professor of neurology and pioneer director, Center for Genomic and Precision Medicine, University of Ibadan. He was Dean Faculty of Clinical Sciences from 2018 to 2022. He's an expert in implementation science and translational genomic epidemiology of hypertension, stroke, and other cardiovascular diseases. Currently, he is the principal investigator, or MPI, of numerous internationally funded grants, including the Siren African Rigorous Innovative Stroke Epidemiological Surveillance, ARISES, and the Systemic Investigation of Blacks with Stroke using Genomics. He is among the global top 2% scientists to 2023 and the winner of the 2021 World Stroke Organization Global Award for Outstanding Contributions to Clinical Stroke Research. Is a leader par excellence and recognized locally and globally with over 400 publications in peer-reviewed journals. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is an embodiment of a lot of stuff. As a matter of fact, in those days in Ife, we call his kind Efiko, but he is a fellow of the American Academy of Neurology, American Heart Association, Royal College of Physicians, Academy of Medical Specialists, and the Nigerian Academy of Science. Ladies and gentlemen, please can we put our hands together for Professor Mayowa Owolabi as he comes to give us the lead paper. Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks a lot. The governor, the deputy governor, the honorable commissioner, the CEO of GET, and everybody that is participating in this conference. Really want to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to talk about this very, very important topical issue, which is actually cutting-edge science. But it's not just science, it's something that can transform and translate society. So science is something that has changed everything about humanity. We know that science is what has powered all of the revolutions, including right now the 5th Industrial Revolution. The discovery of electricity, Alexander Fleming, discovery of penicillin, which has helped us to overcome germs and microbes, even though COVID-19 almost took us down. And of course, the aircraft. 200 years ago, if anyone thought he was going to fly to America, people would be thinking of witchcraft, not aircraft. But that has since changed. And we know the power of telecommunications, including 5G, including virtual reality, mixed reality, which allowed us to meet and do a lot of things during COVID-19, which has continued. We also know the power of big data and of the internet, and artificial intelligence, which is creeping in with man-machine interfaces that is completely transforming our world. In the realm of neurology, new things are happening with robotics, with bionic eye, which is artificial eye for those who are blind, with neurostimulation, and of course with artificial intelligence, including chatbots. Some things are happening that are almost like wonders. Like someone with spinal cord injury walking, again, using brain-spine interface. Brain-computer interfaces are being developed. But today we are focusing on synthetic biology, which I think is perhaps one of the most wonderful tools that science has provided, one of the most powerful vistas that almost places us at the level of creation. We have been created, but perhaps we are beginning to have the power to create. Now let me simplify what synthetic biology means, or define it in a very simple way. Biology, as we know, is study of life, biologos. Synthesis is man-made, making something. So basically it's like making life, artificial life, or altering biological systems. Applying rational design principles to produce novel biological systems or organisms or components that contribute to a direct and significant way to their production through the novel development of materials, technologies, or processes. So basically it's like altering the ecosystem, altering life in its different forms, plant, animal life, or even our own life in different forms, using novel systems, redesigning life. But it's a very, very important aspect of the global economy that is going to account for up to 100 billion US dollars by 2030, and we can't afford to be left out. It's manifesting in different forms, like CRISPR technology for gene editing, nanotechnology for drug delivery, production of phytochemicals, enzymes, organic acids. That is very useful in the agri industry, plant and tissue. Of course, re-engineering of microorganisms to produce drugs. Optogenetics, biosensing, synthetic quorum sensing. A lot of tools are being used, including protein engineering, genetic circuit engineering. Therapies based on chimeric antigen receptor cells, cell receptor engineering, induced pluripotent stem cells, CRISPR technology, gene editing, which provides, it's still a technology that has been investigated, but provides the promise of cures for a lot of chronic diseases that we battle with, including in Africa. For instance, I would like to say Africa is the global capital of hypertension, with 1 in 2 adults, those who are older than 25 years, 46% of them are hypertensive. And only 7% are controlled. 93% are not controlled, because people perceive hypertension perhaps as infectious disease, you know, which is what we are used to. If someone has malaria and takes medications within 3 days or 4 days, is cured and is fine. But hypertension, you have to take medications for life, and that has been very difficult to achieve. Even in developed countries, control rate is also not very fantastic. So if a cure can be produced through synthetic biology, that would be miraculous. So nanobiotechnologies for drug discovery, for delivery, for diagnosis, gene drive technology, these are some of the tools. And the applications of synthetic biology is in every area of life, including the clothes that we wear, the food that we eat, and of course the medications that we take. So medicines and pharmaceuticals, environmental bioremediation, space systems exploration, food and agriculture, biofuels, sustainable energies. So a lot of great opportunities and wide applicability, including in environmental conservation. So potential applications, of course, in medicine, for new for drug discovery, for drug delivery, for new drug development, vaccine development, like it happened in COVID-19. Usually it takes years to produce a vaccine, but with COVID-19 it took only a few months. In agriculture, in manufacturing, biofuels for sustainable energy, photosynthetic biofilms in solar panels. We have a lot of crisis in terms of the energy industry in Africa, particularly in Nigeria and other countries. So biofuels for sustainable energy, photosynthetic biofilms are things that can help us to solve some of these problems. In the fabric industry, engineered proteins used for production of durable, sustainable fabric. In the food industry, production of cheese, cell culture, meats, plant-based meat alternatives, and so on and so forth. So, current biotechnology applications in food security. Hunger is very rife in Africa. Africa is a continent with the highest proportion of people facing hunger. And you can see different countries in Africa with serious, very serious, and severe hunger. Using synthetic biotechnology or synthetic biology in Africa, in the food industry, can actually completely change the landscape. And some countries are already adopting this technology as far back as 2015. For disease-free plant, fortification of crops, reproduction in aquaculture, pest-resistant crops, biofuels, enzymes, fermentation, and of course also to improve yield. The advantages in agriculture include growth of premium crops under poor conditions, pest or herbicide-resistant crops, faster maturation rates for crops, increased yield for crops, for farmers, higher quality attributes for the product size, color, flavors, that is desirable, longer shelf life for products. We have issues also with the cold chain or storing agricultural products, especially fruits and some other products. Grow crops on less fertile land, with desert encroachment, with recession of lakeshad and so on and so forth, with climate change. So synthetic biology helps to still continue to produce crops and food and ensure food security. Larger yields to feed more people with growing world population, with Nigerian population projected to increase to 300 million in just less than a decade from now, and to double by about 2050. More crops grown, faster maturation. In future, we can actually use it for fighting diseases. We can turn foods, so to speak, to medicine through synthetic biology. We can use it to improve health of consumers and, of course, to improve crops. Of course, there are disadvantages like environmental risk, resistant pests and weeds, mutated genes in nature, extinction of plant species, allergens from protein not normally present in food products, which can be dangerous to those who consume genetically modified crops or food, pharmaceutical crop contamination, traditional and organic farms are getting obsolete. Of course, it can be applied in One Health, every aspect of One Health, to combat climate change, to improve the environment, public health, global health, One Health, and planetary health. And perhaps, at some point, a lot of miracles, so to speak, medical miracles is happening. Synthetic biology perhaps will, at one point, be able to help us not only to cure diseases, the chronic diseases that we've not been able to cure, cancers, but also perhaps provide an anti-aging capsule. If this is going to happen, it's going to happen through synthetic biology. Modern medicine, through stem cell therapy, regenerative medicine. Through regenerative medicine, we can create or produce almost any organ for transplant, apart from the brain. Because if we transplant someone's brain to another, then we don't know who owns the brain, who owns the body. But for every other thing, you can actually transplant. So regenerative medicine can produce new organs, kidney, liver, heart, stem cell differentiation, and for tissue repair. Nanotechnology, tiny robots delivering drugs, and this is very useful for curing cancer by delivering drugs that are going to kill only the cancer cells and not cause hair loss or cause any other damage to the body. Now, multi-omics is very, very important, and precision medicine are very, very important brothers and sisters of synthetic biology. They help us to understand the pathway to disease, the pathology pathway to disease, how diseases develop from the interaction between our gene and the environment, through the DNA, which makes RNA, which makes proteins, which make metabolites, and through what is called genomics, transcriptomics, proteomics, metabolomics, and all of this. This helps us to understand disease, identify new biomarkers for diagnosing disease, for prognosticating or forecasting whether a disease is going to occur, for forecasting the impact of that disease as well as the outcome of that disease, and more importantly, for identifying molecular targets that can be used for gene editing or therapies to develop cures. So how do we apply this to NCDs? NCDs right now constitute 74% of all deaths globally. 77% of these deaths are in LMICs, like in Nigeria. So 7 out of every 10 deaths. And in Africa since 2019, cardiovascular diseases have become #1 killer, no longer infectious diseases. Neurological conditions are also taking the center stage. And it's projected that there will be 40% increase. There has been 40% increase already in the last 30 years, and this will continue to increase. For stroke alone costs about $900 billion US per annum. And it's projected that it's going to cost about $2.3 trillion by 2050. It's the second leading cause of death globally. So we've tried to apply precision medicine to stroke in Africa through the Siren study, which is a multi-omic study. We have the largest neurobiobank in Africa for stroke and for other neurological conditions. And we're able to identify the conditions that account for 90% of stroke on the African continent. Hypertension being number one, followed by dyslipidemia, which was not common before, but now it's very common. Diabetes mellitus, cigarette smoking, and so on and so forth. Now, for these diseases, if we are able to provide cures for them, so to speak, we'll be able to deal with stroke, which is the second leading cause of death globally, including in Africa. Every minute, one Nigerian develops a stroke. Every minute, 6 Africans develop a stroke. So if we're able to provide cure for the causes of stroke, we'll be able to curtail and tame the burden of stroke. One very, very interesting but consistent finding of our study was that those who consume green leafy vegetable, which is ubiquitous, it's available everywhere, it's not expensive. Those who consume that daily rather than weekly are protected against stroke. Whether it's female or male, elderly or young, they are protected against different types of stroke and even against stroke risk factors and severe stroke and fatal stroke. So we don't yet know which factor within green leafy vegetables are responsible for this, but that tells us again that what we eat determines our health. And synthetic biology plays a major role both in our health as well as in what we eat. Another thing we find is that those who consume up to 12 servings of vegetables per week are less likely to develop hypertension. So it's across the life course. We can prevent stroke, we can prevent all these diseases from childhood. To determine the genomic architecture of stroke on the continent of Africa, we performed the first genome-wide association study, and we're able to unravel some of the, what we call single nucleotide polymorphisms that account for stroke. These are potential novel drug targets that can be used to reduce the burden of stroke. We also partnered with the Geiger stroke to unravel 68 determinants of stroke across the globe. And we converted some of the things that we found, hypertension, dyslipidemia, and so on and so forth, into an Afrocentric stroke riskometer with an educational video, which we have deployed as a mobile app for the reduction and primary prevention of stroke. And hypertension being the elephant in the room, responsible for most of the cardiovascular conditions, we started the African control of hypertension through an innovative epidemiology and vibrant ecosystem. This was launched a few months ago, was actually attended by the Minister of Health, Honorable Minister of Health of Ghana, and we have a publication coming in Lancet Global Health on this, on the 12-point agenda of the communique that was issued. Our target is very, very ambitious. We want to reduce the burden of hypertension by controlling 80% of hypertension by 2030. It's only 7% that is controlled right now. That could be assisted if we are able to use synthetic biology, because there's a lot of barriers to hypertension control. So unraveling the risk factors for hypertension for stroke is important. The hypertension, obesity, dyslipidemia, and all of that. But it's also important to take a step backwards and look at the risk factors for these risk factors themselves. So political, legal, ethical, anthropological, and socio-educational factors determine whether hypertension, dyslipidemia, and all these other factors are going to occur. And I'm happy that not only is the commissioner here, but the deputy governor, and hopefully the governor also is going to join us. There are political factors that determine health and disease. And these are really very important. And there are also commercial factors that determine health and disease. For instance, earlier this year, there were a series of publications in Lancet titled Commercial Determinants of Health. And it was found that 1/3 of all deaths globally are due to industries. Food industry, tobacco industry, alcohol industry, and the fuel industry because of air pollution. So all of this affects our health. So if we really want to prevent hypertension, dyslipidemia, we will need to tackle political, legal, ethical, anthropological, and socio-educational risk factors that influences our behavior. We're trying to do this through some of the organizations, the World Federation for Neurorehabilitation, African Stroke Organization, which we have established. And we came up with these pragmatic solutions to reduce the global burden of stroke. It's a commission of the Lancet, which was led humbly by me. It's actually a global commission. I brought this up to bring up the 4 pillars of the stroke quadrant, which can be applied to any NCDs or any other diseases. Surveillance is very important. It's important to count, and we knew how important this was with COVID-19. Every day we knew how many cases of COVID-19 was developed, how many people died from it. That helps us to keep a tab. The only country that I've seen, not even the US, that has this method for counting diseases, NCDs, the common NCDs, hypertension, dyslipidemia, and all that, is actually Mexico. They have real-time numbers, absolute numbers, real-time, of the number of people in their population that is hypertensive, diabetic, dyslipidemic. And they give opportunity for people to be screened everywhere. And then, of course, prevention is very important across the life course, acute care, and rehabilitation for those. And of course, an ecosystem that involves policymakers and involves everyone is important, both for synthetic biology and for every other thing. So someone was mentioning whether many of the things we do cannot be led from Africa. This is a testament that it can actually, things can be led. Global efforts, great global efforts can actually be led from Africa. So this was in recognition of my leadership of the Lancet Commission on Stroke, which is a global thing. This award was given in recognition of that as Outstanding Global Award for clinical stroke research across the globe, not for Africa, across the globe as #1. So it's possible here from Africa. We can actually lead. We can be, like I said yesterday, center of excellence, and also we can be pace setting, right from Africa. So, and there's another revolution which is called the neurology revolution, which I also proposed, and global synergies to deal with this. Putting brain health at the center of human development for brain economy and for brain skills. We all know that we are now in a knowledge economy. We are no longer in the extractive industries. And we know that the conglomerates that are multi-billion, multi-trillion dollar conglomerates are in the realm of knowledge enterprise, knowledge economy. And Lagos is actually pace setting in terms of being a leader in the frontiers of developing the economy of Africa and of course of Nigeria. And we know that to be able to do this very well, human capital is most important. The most important capital or the most important resource that Africa has are not the mineral resources. It's actually our youthful population, which now I will say the rest of the world is jealous of. The mean age of the African population is about 19 years. In Europe, they have an inverted population pyramid. Most of them are going into geriatric age group, and in fact, their population is receding because of their low birth rate. So Africa is the future of the world and actually can be the present of the world, but we need to convert our teeny young population into human capital, viral brain capital that can power our economy and put us at the center stage. And synthetic biology is one of the ways by which we can show this. So brain health is the driver of health. Without brain health, there is no health. And without health, there is no development. Without health, there is no wealth. Brain health is important for physical health, for social health, for planetary health, and for spiritual health. And for the next chapter for African genomics, we can actually champion this. And that's why we established the African Biobanks and Longitudinal Epidemiological Ecosystem through a quadruple helix approach. Again, this talks about collaboration between industry, between the populace, between academia, not just academia working in silos, government working in silos, but everybody working together to ensure that we are able to put science at the center stage of development, health, and growth. And this is an ecosystem that talks about defining the problem, identifying the best method to deal with it, looking at the political, legal, ethical, socioeconomic framework for it, using a One Health approach to collect data, using data science to transform the data into products, precision medicine products, precision public health and policies, and using this to generate impact. And of course, is a virtual cycle, so to speak. So precision health can be applied across the life course, including planning a baby up to molecular autopsy, all the way across the life course. And a lot of data can be collected to help in unraveling the cause of disease, including how active we are, using wearables, pedigree analysis, and so on and so forth. And using big data tools, we're able to predict diseases better. We're able to convert data through the data value chain into products that can transform the way we live and how long we live and how well we live. Precision medicine and innovation products can be used for policy making, can be used for improving research, can be used for emerging disease surveillance, can be used for drug and vaccine development, molecular medicine, and so on and so forth. And of course, for biomarkers. Now, synthetic biology is a double-edged sword with infinite capacity for good and infinite capacity also for deleterious effects. Unintended consequences can occur with biosafety hazards, including, for instance, genetically engineered mosquitoes, which, of course, the intention is to eradicate malaria, but they can completely disrupt the ecosystem and lead to some other unintended consequences. Nefarious purposes, biosecurity concerns. If some of this knowledge gets into the hands of non-state actors, they could use it to destroy the human race. I mean, you know exactly what happened with COVID-19. We don't know exactly how it emerged, but something like that, you know, it can be very, very catastrophic. Environmental impacts, conservation dilemma, and essentially it's almost like playing God, because basically we can create new life forms. That's what it means. We can create new species. We can create almost every part of the human body again and transplant. We can, with this technology, over time, we'll be able to cure almost any disease, prolong life, and probably even prevent death, so to speak. So it's really very powerful. But at the same time, adaptive laboratory evolution can occur. You know, naturally, the natural evolution of the species occur because of the natural properties that they have. But we have infused new properties into crops, into plants, into different organisms that enables them to do what the natural counterparts cannot do. And so that can lead to adaptive laboratory evolution. And some of these things could be used for biowarfare, for bioterrorism, and I also mentioned gene drive. We can alter species diversity by introducing new species that were never here before. Genetically engineered species. There is also the risk of laboratory biosafety. We have some of these new organisms, you know, or new viruses that are created, which may not already be tested to be safe. If they escape, you know, inadvertently, they can be catastrophic. Aggravation of injustices and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of risks with gene editing, may be unsafe, can cause death, gene drive, fast adaptive evolution, and so on and so forth. And even gene editing of the embryo is like you might be able to prescribe the kind of child you want, how tall you want him to be, the skin color, the intelligence level, and all of that. So that's powerful, but that could also be very dangerous. So, so it's important to develop governance structures, some of which the Cartagena Protocol talks about, and many organizations play roles in doing this. At the end of the day, we should not forget that our focus is to enable people to live a good life, a long life, high quality life, and a purpose-driven life, attaining what the Chinese call ikigai in terms of harmony and coherence. And of course, with the best purpose, driven by the best purpose, and this is what is supposed to drive ethics. So at the end of the day, health is a political choice, health for all, hunger for none, and health is a human right, and we can move from dementia to supermentia. You know, before we usually study why people develop dementia, but we've proposed this acronym called supermentia. Can we produce people that are prodigious, so to speak, perhaps through synthetic biology or perhaps through other means by which we can enhance our brain capital and human capital and capacity to function? Investment in science is very important. And you can see refusing to stay in its lane. You can see what China has done in terms of investment in science, overtaking so many countries, and of course also overtaking so many countries, not only in science and development, but of course in the development index in the economy. So it means that if you invest in science and knowledge, synthetic biology and all the others, you are likely to improve brain capital, improve your participation in the knowledge economy, and of course, improve the wealth and health of your people. So roles of government, just to summarize, it's important to be part of this revolution, the synthetic biology innovation, which it has huge potentials to transform lives and living conditions for people across the globe. And while doing this, we have to put a governance structure in place, which must be co-created by all participants, all stakeholders, political, legal, ethical, anthropological, socioeconomic. We call it PLEASE framework. It's important to fund scientific research, as we've seen what has happened to China, Singapore, India, and all of that. Investment in science pays off in dividends, that is in trillions of dollars, not only in terms of economy, but also in terms of health and wealth of people. Set the pace, create and fund innovation hubs, fund scientific research and innovation, facilitate access to funding and grants, not only from the government, but also from foreign governments or foreign organizations, autonomous efficient fund management, and also from the private sector. Innovation hubs, we can set the pace, we can blaze the trail right from here, right from Africa, in excellence, knowledge, economy, and entrepreneurship for GPD growth. We can support science and innovation to impact value systems or cycles like the one I showed for ABLE. We can be the leader right from here. And again, brain health is very important, and brain capital is important for development and growth. Brain health for health, health for one health for wealth. We are created to create, but must do so responsibly. Thank you so very much for the opportunity. Okay.
Thank you so very much. Please, can we put our hands together one more time for Professor Owolabi? Sir, you can have your seat. You're welcome. Okay, the Deputy Governor is giving you a handshake. I think this is, the Deputy Governor is a doctor of letters, and you are a professor of genomics. The handshake that has exchanged can only be done in the place of academics. We want to say a big thank you. Please put your hands together for him. One of the scary things he has said is that, is this every 6 minutes people come down with stroke, or we are in every minute in Africa? So every minute, 6 Africans. We have to check that data again. No? Because if every minute 6 Africans, and I'm looking at everybody here, I'm wondering how that is going to go. It's not our portion. Because the way you people roll out these statistics, yesterday somebody said, you know, several of us come down with all kinds of things. Sometimes when I look at this whole thing, it means at the end of the year, the whole of Africa disappears. You know, but the most important things, some of this data that we've generated is the fact that we are looking at the opportunity in which we can help mitigate. We are living with diseases every single day. As a matter of fact, I understand the Commissioner for Environment should be joining us as well. If we're able to collaborate in this aspect, we can actually deal with all of this. This is a world that we're in. That is why oftentimes they say, wash your hands. That singular, you know, effort of washing your hands can actually make sure you're not among the statistics you've just quoted. But thank you so very much. And thank you so very much, Deputy Governor, for that honor given him. It's not an easy thing. I said earlier on yesterday that his presentation was supposed to be a full workshop for 3 days, but he had to put everything together in such a short while. I want to quickly recognize Mrs. Kemi Ogunyemi, Special Advisor to the Governor on Health. She joined us earlier on. Please put your hands together for her. Ekabama, you know, the way the Yorubas will say it. As you can see me, I'm looking very Niger Delta-ish. We always say Ibote, you know. You may learn that afterwards, man. You tried. Okay, and of course, I would like to also say a big thank you to our host who also joined us. Dr. Olusegun Ogboye is in the house, Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Ministry of Health. Please put your hands together for him. We also would like to say a big thank you also to the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Primary Healthcare Board, who's joined us, Dr. Ibrahim Mustafa. Please, can you put your hands together for him? We also recognize and say a big welcome to the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Health Management Agency, Dr. Emanuela Zamba. She's here. Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Health District 1, Dr. Olufunmilayo Bankole. She's here also. You're welcome, madam. And Permanent Secretary, Health District 2, Dr. Dayo Lajide is in the house, as the case is. Oh, she's in the house. Pardon me, ma. Dayo seems like a unisex name, you know, so I didn't recognize that. Permanent Secretary, Health District 6, Dr. Abimbola Mabogunje. This one is female. I know that one. Abimbola is strictly for female. Okay, calm down, everybody. Calm down. Calm down. Okay, madam. See the way they are dragging your name. Oh, it's your name. Oh, you didn't drag. Oh, all right. And of course, we have here the permanent secretary, Health District 3, I believe. 4. Pardon me, Dr. Abimbola Bowale. Okay, you are male too. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, the Yorubas are such wonderful people. I was born in Lagos, like I said earlier on. So when they ask me, where are you from? I say I'm both Lagosian and my ancestral home is Rivers. You can't argue that with me. You understand? Even the deputy governor is like putting a smack on his face. He won't argue it with me. I was born in Lagos. Mercy Hospital Island there, as the case might be. Anyway, thank you so very much. I would like to recognize also Mr. Samuel Wonso, publisher of Environment Africa. You're welcome. And it's a great time to have all of you here. And a lady that I hold in very high regard, Miss Titi Akosa, the Executive Director, Center for 21st Century Issues. I recognize you. You're welcome very much, madam. Ladies and gentlemen, time is not our friend oftentimes, and I think I have so much more here. It's important for us to do all of this recognition. It also helps. The Permanent Secretary, Lagos Health District 5, Dr. Oladakbo Asiyambi. Ashinyombi. Okay, who wrote this must be a doctor. Please, I'm not a pharmacist. I can't decipher a lot of these doctors' handwriting. Please write the way. I'm a PRO person and trained as chemical engineer. Please write the way we can see. If not, they will think I have to go and see another eye doctor. Permanent Secretary, Health District 3, Dr. Monsurat Adeleke. This one, you're welcome, madam. This one was very clear. General Manager, Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA, Dr. Tunde Ajayi is here. Please put your hands together for him. It's good to see you, Tunde. Special Advisor, Non-Cabinet Climate Change Initiative to the Governor of Lagos State, Mrs. Titi Oshodi. That one is a very popular name. You're welcome, madam. Chairman, Lagos Nigerian Medical Association, I believe. Dr. Benjamin is here. Olowoje Butu is here. Please, can you put your hands together for him? Thank you very much. We're looking forward to your presentation. We also have the chairman of the Medical Guild. I don't have the full name here. Please, as soon as I do that, I will recognize you properly. Don't stand up. I think the person who gave me this list has omitted that. Well, it's been a great honor to address this very distinguished audience. But like I said earlier on, you're not here to hear me, and I'm glad to introduce one of our sponsors. As a matter of fact, I'm very excited about them because they saw the investment opportunity, and they are foreigners. They are not Nigerians, but of course they have interest in Nigeria, especially in Lagos, knowing the fact that we have such wonderful opportunities for investment. And that is Concentric by Jinko, as Mr. Chris Perex, Head of International Programs, Senior Director as well, comes up to give his remark for 5 minutes. Please put your hands together for Mr. Perez.
Thank you very much for the warm introduction. A very difficult act to follow. I can assure you I do not have the charisma that the gentleman had. But I wanted to first off say and acknowledge the presence of Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Hamzat, the Honorable Commissioner of Health, Professor Abayomi, the CEO of GETS Africa, and all distinguished guests that are here present today, all protocol previously established. Thank you so much for having us here at this great conference. My name is Chris Perez. I am the head of international programs for Concentric by Ginkgo Bioworks. Ginkgo Bioworks is one of the largest synthetic biology companies in the world, and so the last presentation was very much resonated with us. And I would encourage, as you look to invest in synthetic biology, to please check out Ginkgo Bioworks, because we may be able to help accelerate that growth here on the continent. We began, so we work for Concentric, which is the biosecurity division within Ginkgo Bioworks. So we are working to develop a global early warning system for pathogen surveillance. We began our unit during COVID in the United States to help open schools back up. One of the biggest challenges we had in the US was schools shut down and we couldn't get kids back into school. So we helped to deploy pooled testing and data integration across the United States. And through that program, we collected over 12 million samples. We supported 5,500 organizations, and we were able to sequence 47,000 positive samples through that program. And as we saw the power and impact of that type of decision making that it provided to public health authorities, we said we could probably expand this. So we began a program with the United States CDC, which is called the Traveler Genomic Surveillance Program. And you may have seen that it was recently featured on CNN. It is the program that is being run currently in 8 airports in the United States. And so we deploy several different modalities, one of them being the collection of aircraft wastewater samples that we can then sequence for different pathogens, and also voluntary nasal swabs. And so as we deployed that program through the US CDC, we thought to ourselves, what if we could take this internationally and set the same standard and enable a global data sharing platform so that people could benefit from the sampling that's being done across the world and integrating that data across the world. And so one of the things as we began to do that, and that was largely where I came in, was I started to come to Africa. I lived in Kigali, I lived in Abidjan, and so Africa has a very big part of my heart. And so as we went around the continent, one of the things we observed was there was a tremendous amount of investment that happened during the pandemic. There were new sequencers, there were new PCR machines spread out throughout the entire continent. But what we've seen after COVID has receded is that those sequencers are having a hard time being filled up, right? Because it's so expensive to run a sequencer, you need that sample volume to bring the per sample cost down. And so we said, what if we could deploy this TGS program at the same standard and help fill those sequencing plates back up and ensure that we continue to sequence and prevent the next pandemic. And so one of the focuses that we have in our programs is coming to and working with every single country in our platform, but adjusting the program to the local needs. That's the most critical thing to us because each country has different needs, whether it be in the airport, but also national borders, whether it be AMR in hospitals. We want to meet each country where you are because you're the most important person to us because you're our client. And so through that, what we typically do is we begin with lab enablement. We begin working in partnership with our technical team at Ginkgo Bioworks. As I mentioned, one of the largest synthetic biology companies in the world. So the depth of expertise on that sequencing side is unparalleled. And so we put our teams together with the lab team in a country and help enable that before we go out and begin testing in the different modalities. And so we believe that in the same way that radar initially led to the connection of a global network through imagery, we believe that a global bioradar system can also help us connect the world and prevent the next pandemic. So thank you very much for having us here, and thank you to all the organizers for putting on such a great event. This is such an important event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chris. I'm almost tempted to give you a Yoruba name. Looking at you, I was going to give you Kamoru, but I mean, still all well and good. That's a good term. Before he thinks that, he was here yesterday and he was quite excited as one of our sponsors is quite impressive. I want to say a big thank you. We're looking forward to your support next year as well. It's going to be a bigger affair. Please pardon me, earlier on, the Commissioner for Innovations, Science and Technology was in the house, Mr. Tubosun Alake. Please, can you put your hands together for him? You're welcome. So, did you say Alake? Alake. Oh, wow. Okay, Egbamio. All right, and then we also have with us some other dignitaries that we must recognize. This is always good for protocol. Permanent Secretary, Lagos Health District 5, Dr. Oladapo. No, I think I've mentioned that earlier on. Please pardon me. The Chairman, Medical Guild, Dr. Saeed Ahmad, is in the house. Please, can you put your hands together for him? You're welcome, sir. And the Permanent Secretary, Sustainable Development Goals, Mrs. Tolani Oshodi, is also in the house. Please, can we put our hands together for her? You're welcome, ma'am. Great. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, before I announce this name, I would like to say that I'm going to be in trouble because this is quite, my Lord, into your hands I commit my spirit. Executive Secretary, Lagos State Blood Transfusion Service. Dr. Bodunri Oshikomaiya. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for that deliverance, my dear Lord. All right, so this is a beautiful name. Sometimes some of us have to. I don't want to go there before I get into trouble. The deputy governor is already looking at me. At least I'm glad, sir, that your name is easy for me. I've been practicing it since 2 nights ago. The deputy governor of Lagos State, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat. Please put your hands together for him. That one is not, it's not hard. Kole, as they will say it. Kole. And Professor Akin Abayomi. I mean, that one is Honorable Commissioner for Lagos State Ministry of Health. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. At this point in time, we are going to invite another of our sponsors who is going to be giving a 5-minute remark. I want to say a big thank you to them. They are people that I hold very dear, as the case might be. But before then, I'm going to ask Mr. Femi Olagbegba to please come up, Managing Director of Smart Health Limited, to give a 5-minute remark. And then I will have my next sponsor who is going to be speaking as well. I recognize the sponsors because they make these things happen. Thank you very much, Lagos State Ministry of Health, for your collaborative partnership.
Thank you. And thanks again to Lagos State for giving us the opportunity to present here. The Governor, His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, Honorable Commissioner of Health, all the eminent people here, I would like to stand on existing protocol. I'm to speak briefly on the importance of a ship. What is a SHIP? SHIP is a smart health information system. It's an initiative of the Honorable Commissioner of Health through the Ministry of Health to bring together health data in Lagos State. To harness the superior value and capabilities that digital health technologies bring to care delivery, there is a need to build a platform that aggregates efforts in various touch points and enable the digital transformation agenda in health and social care. For Lagos State, that is SHIP. SHIP is a health information infrastructure to be owned by the Lagos State government, where digital products exchange data, supporting efficient, consistent, and future-ready health and social delivery. SHIP is built to join all health care services together, providing information, data, and IT systems to hospitals, pharmacies, diagnostic centers, the academia, and also the regulatory and administrative touchpoints. SHIP is a PPP. It is combining the powers of both the public and the private. The public and the private sectors, so that we get the efficiency in private sector as well as the knowledge base and the equity from the public sector. SHIP includes both the hardware and the software. With SHIP, we would equip the hospitals at the tertiary level, at the secondary level, and at the primary level with technology tools. We're going to put servers there, power the systems, put in computers and all. And then, of course, we'll put in the software. I would speak a bit more on the software as we get along. So why do we need SHIP? Data is fragmented everywhere. We know today that the software that runs in Hospital A is different from the one that runs in Hospital B. How do we bring all of this data together so that the government has more data to plan better, to make better policies, and to, of course, achieve many of the beautiful things Professor Wulabi has mentioned. There are inefficiencies, there are redundancies. Certain activities are done that we can improve on. SHIP would help us bring in what we call process utility, which allows us to move from ideation into better outcomes for patients. Also, there are difficulties in regulatory and policy making. What would happen on SHIP? Okay, maybe I can. I'm trying to find this pointer. So what would happen on SHIP? SHIP has about 3 layers. The first layer is the platform, the second layer is the service, and the third layer is the applications. The platform is where health information will sit. The services are primarily a lot of services that will run off it. I would speak to a few of them. The first one is the identification and access control. This would help ensure there's data security and privacy. The second one is the demography service. This will help us maintain unique patient identification. We're going to work with LASRA, with NIN, it should be through NIMSI, and then other government-issued IDs today. Essentially, this would help us manage birth and death information across the state. There will be the summary care record that will bring together all EMRs within the state. There will be vendor neutral, it's a vendor neutral solution which allows everybody that's currently plays within the space in technology to still continue to play. SHIP is not EMR, it's rather an health information platform that health data would sit on. Another is the electronic prescription service, which allows us to send information and prescriptions from doctors. Oh yeah, okay. So there will be the electronic prescription service, which would allow doctors to send prescriptions to pharmacies. With this service, it would be possible that patients that visit, say, a Luth can pick up their drug in any other hospital, or in fact any other pharmacies, public or private, as the case may be. Also, referrals will be very easier. It will be easier because patients can now be referred from one location into another, from perhaps a primary care and then into a secondary care, as the case may be. Also, one other big thing that fuses into what we're discussing here is the disease surveillance, which allows us to ensure something similar to what Professor Olabi mentioned in Mexico, okay, where you can see real time, what the numbers are, the kind of things we would see on SHIP. The primary users of SHIP are the government, definitely, the patients. You would have the opportunity to own your own medical records. You also have the privilege to determine who should have access to your record. And then definitely would have third-party access. I would rather stop there because of the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. I want you to know that I'm your best friend. All right. Your presentation yesterday was very, very engaging. I want to say a big thank you. Before I go ahead, I would like to recognize the presence of the Attorney General Commissioner of Justice, Lagos State Government, Mr. Lawal Pedro, SAN, ably represented here by Adetutu Oshinusi, Director of the Directorate for Citizens' Rights. Please, can we put our hands together for her? Okay, we're going to go straight to the next speaker, and that is from the Nigerian Medical Association, the president himself, Dr. Benjamin Olowo Jeputu, is speaking for the next 5 minutes. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, distinguished Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat. Thank you for coming today, and the Commissioner of Health, Lagos State, Professor Akin Bayomi, and distinguished guests. Let me stand on the protocol and I read my very, very few remarks today. In the importance of synergy between government and workers in tackling healthcare challenges, I consider it a rare honor to speak to you, to Your Excellencies, Captains of Industries, eminent personality today. Today, I stand before you to emphasize a critical truth that transcends political lines, bureaucratic structures, and professional titles: the indispensable synergy between government and workers in a relentless pursuit of tackling healthcare in Lagos State. In a society where health and well-being of the populace are the core of progress, collaboration between government and its workforce is not just desirable, but very, very imperative. Lagos State, a beacon of economic vitality and cultural diversity has achieved remarkable strides in various sectors. However, the health challenges facing our communities demand a united front, a strategic partnership that transcends bureaucratic boundaries and foster a shared commitment to welfare of our people. One of the prominent challenges bedeviling the healthcare sector is the lack of synergy. At no time in our national life have we been bereaved of ideas or innovative minds, but nurturing a seamless coordinating point or confluence of these ideas has continually eluded us. For decades, I have painfully watched several administrations come and go, strangely with the best intention, yet achieving the least possible result. Conversely, I have seen countless diligent and committed health workers struggle to make positive impact, yet blatantly and woefully fail because of the tide of government policies and preference vehemently blew against their noble attempt. The government sets the agendas, formulate the policies, and allocate resources. However, the dedicated workers on the front lines, the doctors, the nurses, the healthcare professionals, and the support staff, transform these policies into tangible, life-changing actions. Their commitment and expertise are the catalyst for positive change. Let us not forget that health challenges are multifaceted and complex. The tapestry of health challenges requires a comprehensive and collaborative approach, from communicable disease to non-communicable illness, from inadequate healthcare infrastructure to robust preventive measures. To navigate this intricate landscape, seamless collaboration between the government and workers is not merely an option, but a linchpin of success. Pathetically, there can never be sustainable development when gaps between government and workers are allowed to fester or even grow bigger into a retarding gulf. Instead, sustainable growth and development thrive on the collaborative synergy, unity, shared values, goals, and purpose. It is instructive to note that the genesis of national development in this context begins with trashing and abolishing the aged competitive bout, who is more relevant and powerful. Foregoing, a stakeholder's mindset is helpless, and the progress for the development of our nation, this will help the government and the workers interplay as a team and not competitors. On this part, the government must be willing to support workers and pay all legitimate remuneration as at when due, away with monstrous notion of making workers see their rights as privilege or using force to batter them to silence. In the same vein, workers must be proactive in dispensing their duties with honesty, diligence, and devotion. No worker should expect to reap what he or she has not sown. The era of giving questionable promotion, recognition, and recommendation must be phased out. Yes, we can identify, navigate, and a journey to path of success and development together. But individually and in acrimony, we will struggle, fail, and perform below our best. Here is the current call today, to unite and build together. A new era of envious development beckons on us, and we must collectively take this chance to build a health sector that is patient-oriented, rewarding to healthcare practitioners, and 21st century compliant. Imagine a Lagos where government initiatives are met with swift and efficient implementation by a motivated and well-equipped workforce. Envision a healthcare system where innovation and expertise flow seamlessly from the policy table to the patient's bedside. This is not an utopian dream, but a tangible reality that can be achieved through collaboration. In conclusion, let me recommit ourselves to the idea that in unity, we find our strength. Together, we can build a legacy that stands the test of time, one where the health of our citizens is not just a priority, but a testament of effectiveness of our collaboration. May our shared commitment of the well-being of Lagos State be the cornerstone of an healthier, brighter future for us all. Thank you very much for listening to me, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Indeed, that was a very wonderful way to conclude that remark. Quickly, I'm going to invite my next speaker, and that is Professor Rotimi Solomon, as he comes to speak for the next 3 to 5 minutes. Please. Yes, please, can I have the mic? Of course, he's aware what I'm doing, so that I didn't want... Now you've made the Deputy Governor call my attention to this. I hope this is not a biosecurity threat. Please make sure we check out. Because the children are still young. Our hairs have not started growing, so make sure that.
Hello?
But I mean, we are safe. I mean, the deputy governor is the number 2 citizen of Lagos State is here. So all of you just put your mind at peace. Do with COVID, or is it the cold that is too much? We are keeping Professor Solomon standing. We tested all these because we have very distinguished individuals joining us today. So I can imagine why we will have this moment. That itself is not good enough. Please, can we get the hotel's staff to please come in and check? Perhaps it has to be a battery issue.
Yeah, I agree.
Please pardon us, Deputy Governor. It's not. It was well ensured, but you know how sometimes these things happen with some of these technical challenges. And Professor Solomon's presentation is one that I believe that you will want to listen to. After all, we will have Mr. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Hello? Mr. Femi Olukotun will be speaking, and then we also have the DG of the National Biosafety Management Agency. We want to quickly run through this so that we can have the Deputy Governor's speech. And after that, we will have some pictures, and then the vote of thanks will close for the day so that the Deputy Governor can attend to other official assignments. So I believe we're good with this, sir. Okay, so we can work with this. Please put your hands together for Professor Solomon. Prof, they have reduced your time by 2 minutes, so you have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. Your Excellency, Deputy Governor, the Honorable Commissioner of Health, please permit me to stand on the already established protocol. So again, I have 2 minutes to give a talk that I gave for like 30 minutes yesterday. So we talked about the importance of biobanking in driving the science to generate knowledge. The talks that have been presented earlier on has given us the background why knowledge is important, and generating local knowledge is very, very important, particularly in our environment. And so what Lagos State has done is to such that we can go back in history and see when malaria first emerged and the impact of that on our gene today. And so Lagos. And then the point that we were able to match to different local governments in Lagos to say, this is where this variant was identified, perhaps this is where we foresaw it. Now that COVID is over, what we're doing now is that we're moving to begin to use the capacity we have at Lagos State Biocard to understand several things, particularly what is the impact that COVID has had on our genome. And this is because, as I said earlier on, when malaria outbreak occurred first time in the world, all of us were not there, but evidence showed that there was a mutation in human genome. That's why we survived, and that was what said. Again, not just that we have dehydrogenase deficiency. Another one that we had is HIV. There was a mutation. Some people to survive very well or survive HIV very well. But importantly, people hear a lot about cancer and the effect of a gene that was actually named after cancer, BRCA, that's responsible for increasing the risk of breast, prostate, ovarian cancer, most of familiar cancers. But what many people don't know that that mutation came about by an ancient virus that human beings got in contact with, and we survived. And for those who survived that virus very well were those that acquired that mutation. And over time, that mutation now is not having consequences that we really don't think we like. And so it's called a trade-off hypothesis. And so one of the things that we have the capacity to do with the data that we have, the assessment we have in Lagos State Biobank, is to investigate why did some people do very well to COVID and why did others didn't do very well. We have the capacity now to do that. And so in doing that and leveraging on that, and this is the brainchild of the Honorable Commissioner of Health, initially we tagged it a co-genomic project, but then he sent message to us that no, understanding the capacity of genomics to drive economics, we've now changed it to economics project, which means we're looking at using this, leveraging this to make Lagos to enter into the global bioeconomy. The reason is that since the first sequence of human genome, all the drugs that have been approved have been based on that genetic data. And so genetic information has really driven a lot of economic development in the United States, for example. In fact, the investment has been shown that for every dollar invested in genomic work, it's about 5-fold return. Okay. So, okay. I have the permission of the Deputy Governor to go ahead. So if you look at the data of genomic research that have been done globally, Africans have only contributed to 4% of genetic information, including the ones that Professor Owolabi talked about, 4%. The reason why that is so terrible is because genetically, African actually has over 90% of genetic diversity of human race. So think about it. We harbor over 90% of genetic information of human race, but we've only contributed to 4%. And so it is this 4% that have ever been used to develop anything that Africans might have benefited from. So most of the drugs that have been developed, most of these innovations, are not developed based on our own information. And the thing about science is that once you don't contribute to data, you are limited in the benefits you can derive from the information that comes out of that discovery. And so this is very important. And again, and so there have been efforts to do genomic research in Africa. Most of these efforts are funded by NIH, but I believe the one Professor Owolabi talked about is funded by NIH. An example of this also in Ghana. And then we have private fundings. The problem with this, or the limitation with this, is that you cannot really use this information until they release it publicly. Okay? Those of us who are funded by NIH and all of that, we know that by the time, before we release the data for any other person to use, we must have published, we must have done a lot of things. And to drive policy, government should be involved in genomic research. In fact, the Human Genome Project itself was funded usually by US government and the private sector. So government must take the lead, and we're using this economics project to make Lagos, to signpost Lagos State as a leader in genomic research for Africa. And so, thank you very much. So what we're hoping to do, as I said, is to use this project to drive policy, generate scientific information, and contribute to global health. So we're hoping in the first phase to sequence at least 5,000 Lagosians. We're also going to do microbiome, because it's not just about humanity. We're going to develop immortalized cells. And this is very important, and as I begin to write up. Most basic science research that are done to discover drugs are done in test tubes using cells. Again, almost all of these cells are from Caucasian origin. So we need to develop our own indigenous cells for us to know the science that will drive the development that we want. Again, we do phenotype, genotype information, and all of that. Again, thank you very much. We're really grateful to Lagos State government and Lagos State Ministry of Health, Happiness, and all of the people supporting Lagos State Biobank. Thank you very much.
Prof. Solomon, it was you and me that were here yesterday. Now the Deputy Governor is here. Say, go ahead, and you went. Okay. I know where we are now. We'll settle our matter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together one more time for Prof. Solomon. Quickly, we'll invite Mr. Femi Olukotun to please come up and make his presentation for 2 minutes. The deputy governor has agreed with me now. All right.
Thank God I'm facing the deputy governor. So, yeah, what a big challenge speaking immediately after a professor in the sitting of academias. However, I will be speaking on sustaining vital state assets, an approach to biosecurity and operational continuity. In today's dynamic landscape of public health, the maintenance of critical state assets stands as a cornerstone in ensuring, in ensuring the resilience of our healthcare infrastructure. The world has witnessed a good number of various health and safety related disasters. The Bhopal gas leak in India, I think around 1984. The 2001 anthrax virus attack in United States. And at the same time, the Ebola 2014 outbreak in West Africa, as well as the almighty COVID of 2020. So if you look at these examples, you find out that we have one that is private sector led. We have another that is more like a biosecurity attack. And we have another that is more of a regional virus. And at the same time, we now have a global one. And this speaks to the fact that global health challenges transcend borders, affecting nations economically, necessitating robust asset management protocols. The serious bickering that ensued between world leaders as a result of the origin of what it is itself, where the COVID-19 itself started from, will tell you how lethal that weapon is. And further analysis shows that the COVID-19 pandemic revealed that countries are plunged into economic recession during and after pandemic. Hence, developing biosecurity and biosafety measures is not only to save human lives, it is also meant to guarantee continuous economic survival of unaffected persons during and after pandemic. I think we experienced that when we had looting of warehouses and what have you. So it tells you that at some point, you need to just prevent these diseases, not because of saving lives alone, but also ensuring survival. And likewise, to protect not only the staff in these specialized facilities, but also to reduce the risk of accidental escape of pathogens. Focus is extended on highlighting renewable energy attributes and advanced air filtration systems. In Lagos State, containing the spread of Ebola outbreak in 2014 led to the building up the capacity, as in the standardization of the isolation of the center, of the isolation center in Yaba. And also that was when the Lagos Biobank was conceptualized. And in October 2018, this particular biobank was built and commissioned. And so also, the existence of this facility served as an immediate succor, which was built upon to achieve an excellent response to the COVID-19 pandemic a little over a year later, under the able leadership of Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who was the incident commander. A well-coordinated approach of the state placed it ahead as a self-reliant subnational government in West Africa and beyond. Then there is a next stage. Well, I am not in a position to predict any pandemic. However, the next stage, it's a stage at which we must develop a collective framework that will sustain and ensure that these critical assets, physical and core assets that have been put in place during and after this major crisis are well managed, secured, to certify that the state can respond to emergencies within a twinkle. So let me quote this from Bedford J. 2019. Pathogens and epidemics do not respect national borders or political and cultural barriers. Flaws in the surveillance systems can make infectious disease outbreaks become global emergencies. So, and this speaks to the fact that facilities like the Lagos Biobank and some other facilities like that are too essential. And we must ensure that we manage them and keep them up to speed. Agencies and entities. We must be deliberate about the need to develop an efficient maintenance structure that will guarantee the continuous operations of these critical assets that are health related. These include, but not limited to, the infectious disease hospital, that's in Yaba, the Lagos State Biobank, the Lagos State DNA and Forensic Center. I think that was recently vandalized by the NSAS protest. And this also speaks to the fact that we must protect these assets as if we are protecting a central bank. Because these are assets that are very critical and must be live and working, operational at any point in time to ensure that emergencies can be responded to. All agencies of government and other entities that possesses, use, or transfer human, animal, or plant infectious agent or toxins must be under proper scrutiny. We must put in place a periodic safety stand-down times when specific facility sweep will be conducted and biosecurity, biosafety practices and protocols will be reviewed accordingly. Maintenance approaches may include, but not limited to these four: preventive maintenance, predictive maintenance, corrective maintenance, and predetermined maintenance. For example, in relation to the Lagos Biobank, it needs a specialized maintenance capabilities which are crucial to the upkeep of the advanced air filtration systems. And coincidentally, the Lagos Biobank is designed such that it has renewable energy embedded in it. It has 4 levels of power production. It has the solar system, it has the inverter batteries that store power, it has the generator, and it also has the public supply. So it means that it must not go off at any point in time. And if you look at these components of power in itself, it means that you need professionals to ensure that they are certified and they keep these facilities going. Because they are so important to us that at the point of emergencies, we cannot start building. So whatever we have built, we must ensure that they continue to be operational and continue to be functional. I think at this level, your face is very scary. Once again, thank you very much. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak here. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and God bless Lagos State. Thank you very much.
Mr. Femi Olukotun is the Group Chief Executive of Brook Heritage Holdings. He already taken my clicker with him. And we're glad that this is going on. Because of the time, and I understand that the Deputy Governor has other assignments, we have to please quickly move through this. We want to say a big thank you, sir. It's not an easy task. I would like to invite Dr. Tunde Ajayi, General Manager, Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, to please give the remark for 2 minutes, as the case is, so that we can have all of this quickly and then wrap this session up.
The Deputy Governor, Dr. Kadir Obafemi Hamzat, morning, sir, the Honorable Commissioner for Health, the Honorable Commissioner Innovation, Science and Tech, Mr. Tubosun Alake, the Honorable Attorney General, ably represented, the SA Climate Change and Circular Economy, Permanent Secretaries, particularly Dr. Shegun Ogboye, all other protocols duly observed. I'll make this very quick. This topic, particularly biosecurity and synthetic biology, is very essential, and it's at the core of the work that we do at LASEPA. A very quick example. So just at the end of Admiralty, there's always flood by the place. You would always see one half of the road flooded. That's because there's a caked part of their drainage that is constantly blocked by oil waste, right? And the sustainable way to get rid of this oil waste is actually with biosynthesized organisms, right? So this is right at the center of the activity that we do. We are looking forward to the positives and the possibilities that synthetic biology offers, and how it will help us improve the environmental protection and essentially the health of the people. Thank you very much. Have a great deliberation.
Please come, shake me. Thank you very much. These are the kinds of, please make sure you see him as the model when I invite you to come up here. My next speaker, look, apart from this, my madam, this one is madam at the top, is the DG, CEO, National Biosafety Management Agency, Dr. Agnes Yemisi Asagbara. She's come forward to give a remark for the next Madam, I will give you 5 minutes. Even the deputy governor has agreed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Deputy Governor, Dr. Obafemi Amzat, the Honorable Commissioner, Professor Abayomi, and the Coordinator of JET in the person of Mr. Boba Doye. I bring greetings to you from Abuja, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm probably quite not a familiar face in this GET program. I had a predecessor in the person of Dr. Rufus Ebeba. So I just assumed this position just on the 1st of May this year. And like I said earlier, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be here. And NBMA is a regulatory organization, and we regulate modern biotechnology. And as Professor Wolabi, he mentioned quite a lot of things on emerging biotechnology, on synthetic biology, on gene editing. And as an agency, we're very concerned about the human health, animal health, plant health, and the environment. And it is of essence that these emerging biotechnologies coming up, that we are able to have a deep understanding of both their benefits and their inherent risks. And that is why when things like what Professor Owolabi is doing, we have to get the dossier. We have to make sure we carry out comprehensive risk assessment to be sure that these would be okay for our people. So as we explore this vast potential of synthetic biology and emerging biotechnologies, it is of essence that we know the benefits and also the risk. And Africa stands as a forefront of innovation, and our decisions and collaborations today, which started yesterday and will be rounding up today and will still continue to go forward, will be a trajectory of biotechnological process across diverse nations. So the National Biosafety Management Agency, we take pride in championing the cause of biosafety and biosecurity by putting measures that these issues of biosafety and biosecurity are of essence. Just simply to say it, biosafety, you are trying to make sure that the staff, that the people are protected. And biosecurity, you are protecting those pathogens, those microorganisms from being misused. And I'll talk a bit more about that later on in the afternoon when I'll be bringing up my paper. So our efforts are dedicated at creating an environment where innovation flourishes hand in hand with well-being of our citizens and the integrity of our ecosystems. This conference will serve as a pivotal platform to share insights, which has already started, and collaboration with all of us. And collectively, we can chart a course toward a future where benefits of biotechnology are harnessed responsibly in a safe manner. May the discussions here be rich in knowledge exchange, fostering collaboration, and inspiring concrete actions that will contribute to the responsible development of synthetic biology and emerging biotechnologies in Africa. And just to add a little on that, we are very much involved in the agenda of the president in food security, and also we have genetically modified maize, which the farmers are using, and we also have the cowpea, and all these, and also BT cotton. All these are able to enhance and to bring about greater food security in the nation. And we also regulate research institutes and higher institutions that carry out modern biotechnology, most especially in the area of agriculture. I wish you all, and I wish us all, a successful and a great conference. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, DG. You know, you will know Abuja people. They don't talk like people like us now. You know, very smooth and it's going smoothly, you know. But some of us are fast talker. Madam, I'm looking forward to your presentation later on. And our next speaker is going to be giving the remark. Please kindly consult your program. On your program from pages 18 to about 28, you'll see the details of the bios of our speakers. And I'm glad that perhaps you allow me to be prophetic this time around by introducing the Special Advisor to the Governor on Health, Dr. Mrs. Kemi Ogunyemi. Please put your hands together for her.
Thank you. The Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, ably represented by the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, members of the State Executive Council here present. Please allow me to stand on the existing protocol. I was here very briefly yesterday, and it was so interesting because I first became aware of biosecurity and synthetic biology during COVID. And I think most of us here actually started hearing about biosecurity during COVID. But I've heard more in the last 2 days than from 2020. Some scary, some not so scary. But I'm in the cancer space, and I know for a fact the second speaker talked about genomics, that we really do need to start collecting our own data, and I know private hospitals that have actually started doing that, because the treatment, especially of diseases like breast cancer, the data comes from the Caucasian people. We don't actually have data on Africans. Like the former speaker said, it is really so important. Genomics is something that I know this government is going to push ahead on, because the treatment we give for people, like I said, is based on the Caucasians, and we need data on us, Africans, black people, so that the chemotherapeutic agents that we're using right now that is not actually working for some will actually work better for us. This year's topic is an important one because it's basically what it's done is created awareness. Most of us here have not really heard half of what we've heard today before. And I'm going to say this with utmost respect to Professor Awolabi, that I thought the Honorable Commissioner was a nerd, but my gosh, when I saw all your credentials, you're nerdier. But yeah, and I say that with respect. Well done indeed. But like I said, this year's topic is an important one, and it creates awareness about the impact, both positive and negative, on our lives. In our daily lives, we all make decisions, what we eat, what we want to buy, what we want to wear. For women, the makeup that we put on, but we never really think about where it's from or who created them and all the things that they use to actually make us want to look beautiful or put in our hair or in our skin and all that. But this should really create more awareness in every single one of us, because we make those decisions every day. And I believe that this government, Lagos State government, is going to lead in ensuring that this information, where we make informed decisions when it comes to policy. You can't make policy without knowing what's going on. And I think every single speaker from yesterday and today have really enlightened a lot of us, and there'll be lots of more papers, all the research that has been done. It's all part of what comes together when we sit down as a government to make decisions on what next. in the biosecurity world. We have to be alert. Somebody mentioned about supposing there's another threat. Like somebody said, we don't know where COVID really came from. They said they made it in the lab or whatever, but it could actually happen. Are we ready as, not only as a state, but as a nation, that should something like that happen again, God forbid it, are we ready? Or are we just going to now start running around? We were saved, we were blessed that COVID didn't really have the impact that they said it was going to have. But I know, because I'm part of government, that we are going to be ready. We are ready. We are working towards being ready. We are working towards all the things that we need to do, the training, the things that we need to do, the constant, what's the word I'm using? Reminding ourselves that this could happen. Being alert is the word. So based on all the advantages and disadvantages highlighted by Professor Wolabi, we should be on the side of ensuring that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. We must also remember we are not God. We should try as best as possible not to be victims of our own successes. The artificial beings that can be made from biology, artificial biology, is by man, and they're not created by Almighty God. So you can kill the artificial beings you make, but we can't kill humans. In other words, the human factor is still there. It is right not to be left behind as we learn more about biosecurity and synthetic biology. So on that note, I know there's so many eloquent speakers coming up later. I hope this has created that awareness and that we can keep on talking about these things and be involved in everything that pertains to this. So thank you very much, and thank you all for coming to listen to this. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Essay to the Governor on Health. Of course, Lagos State is obviously ever ready, and I know that it's not going to be a case of we lagging behind. If not, in 2014, I'm not sure any of us would perhaps be talking about what life experiences are. And of course, yesterday we honored the memory of late Adadevo for her sacrifice. She really did what she did in order for us to be alive today. God bless her so much. Next in line, I would like to invite the Commissioner for Lagos State Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, Mr. Olatubosun Alake, to please come up to make his presentation. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you. The Deputy Governor, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, Honorable Commissioner Health, Special Advisor, Permanent Secretaries, and all distinguished guests, please allow me to stand on all existing protocol. I think it's a credit to the Commissioner that he has kept this exchange going. I remember one of the first editions a couple of years ago, and I cannot underscore enough the criticality of an exchange like this. This is where, from the public sector side and the private sector side, we can set some goals and some benchmarks on things we need to achieve, especially in relation to health and biosecurity. For us in Lagos State, I think the consolidation of knowledge is very important. And what do I mean? In Lagos State today, we have information, but it's scattered across different workloads. And so one of the things my office is doing is really to consolidate that data and consolidate that knowledge. And of course, the SHIP project being led by the Commissioner for Health is very important, because in health data, the kind of data you require is not only primarily health data. You need other kinds of data to supplement, to be able to implement very comprehensive biosecurity measures, whether it's biocontainment or bioexclusion or whatever. And in fact, when consolidation of data is paramount, then we can begin to train our AI models on that data. Very, very key. Artificial intelligence can even address the doctor shortage, because when you have a robust bedrock of data and you train the different AI models on that data, where there are shortages of doctors, then AI doctors, robo doctors, and things like that become more accurate and can prescribe and diagnose cases much more efficiently, much faster. So we've sort of begun that framework and that preparation to be able to consolidate all our data and begin to implement so many things around it. One other thing that I think is very important and that we've also started in Lagos is R&D. Today, through the Lagos State Science Research and Innovation Council that is led by my office, we sponsor anything between 60 and 70 R&D initiatives across 4 major universities in Lagos State. So in UNILAG, in LASU, the Lagos State University of Science and Technology, and of course the Yaba College of Technology. And in fact, a significant number of our R&D initiatives are in health. So the first patent we ever got was a health device, was a dual motor ambubag ventilator that was designed for local usage. Of course, we all know during the COVID-19 pandemic, ventilators were a very scarce resource. And so the task was taken that how do we engineer something that was sub $1,000 and could be deployed to rural areas. And so a multidisciplinary team of researchers, medical informatics experts, medical doctors, software developers came up with this device, and they were awarded a patent in 2021. And that's just one of the many R&D initiatives that we do. We do other things such as using CNNs to genome sequence. Now, CNN is not the cable news network. It stands for convolutional neural networks, right? It's a kind of AI neural network that is adept at reading images. And so in terms of identifying the genomic sequence, for the next pandemic, it will be much faster, right? And so we've already started some of these initiatives to prepare us for the next pandemic. However, as a colleague of mine mentioned earlier, the government needs to be involved in R&D, of course, but the private sector can also help by making R&D projects demand-driven. You know, when you talk about the National Institutes of Health, right, they are well capitalized. They have quite an enormous grant from the United States government. And so for more cash-strapped economies or for developing nations, I think R&D can be more focused, can be demand-driven by the private sector. NIH has a research approach that is letting all flowers bloom, meaning it's basic research. But for cash-starved environment like ours, the private sector can help make research initiatives more demand-driven, so there is a goal, there is a time frame, and of course, along that path, you can also discover many things. So I think I cannot underscore enough the criticality of exchanges like this. I think this is where we can talk and set goals for ourselves so that by God, we'll be ready for the next disaster. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, sir. This is quite an unveiling of what your ministry is doing, and this is what innovation is about. Thank you. At this point in time, I would like to invite our chief host, who will come up right now to give the remarks from the Ministry of Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, the Honorable Commissioner for Health, Lagos State. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you, sir.
Good midday to everybody. To the Governor of Lagos State that is represented here by our Deputy Governor, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, to all the members of the executive that are present, and to the very large body of permanent secretaries and other directors in the civil service private sector, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this opportunity to do a recap and to let you know what we're doing in Lagos State. How do I control the... Where do I point it to? Okay. So, I mean, when we talk about biosecurity, I mean, it's a really very simple definition, and you don't need to bend your brain trying to understand what biosecurity is. If you think about the biosphere, biosecurity is essentially preserving the biosphere for our sake, essentially, but also out of respect. Respect that somebody created it and that it's important that we maintain it. And in so doing, we protect ourselves. We've heard a lot about synthetic biology. I don't need to spend too much time. Essentially, it's the interface between engineering and science, biology, to create new systems and, in extreme, new life forms. And there is a tool that is used called CRISPR, and it was invented by these two ladies, Emanuela Carpentier and Jennifer Doudna, who accidentally found a mechanism in life, in the ecosystem, that was able to cut and splice genetic material. And since this invention, we've gone miles ahead with the technology called gene editing and genomic modification, which is traversing every aspect of life. And right now, I doubt if there's anything you do on a day-to-day basis that's not involving some of these products. So what are the type of synthetic biology products that we are experiencing? We talk about gene editing and gene drives. And these are going to change, really, life as we know it. Gene editing is the ability to cut and splice the genetic code of any living entity, whether it's a plant, animal, or human beings. And a gene drive is even more amazing because it can perpetuate a gene through multiple generations. So if we put a gene drive into an organism, we can make sure that that gene that we're looking at will continue to be perpetuated throughout the life and the progeny of that organism. For example, as human beings, we may give birth to children, and there's no saying that certain genes will go down to the next generation. But for example, we have a genius gene, and we want that genius gene to keep perpetuating throughout our progeny. We can attach a gene drive, and that will make sure that that happens. So the knowledge bioeconomy is what is the next future of humanity. And it is a huge enterprise. As you can see, we're in 2022 right now, and you can see the predicted escalation of synthetic biology over the next 10 years, going into the billions of US dollars across the world. Sadly for us, most of this activity is happening in America, Europe, and Asia, and very, very little activity happening in Africa. Synthetic biology has solutions, especially for megacities around the world, because as megacities are expanding, they become very vulnerable to environmental perturbation. And we have increased, as you saw from Professor Wolabi's presentation, that non-communicable diseases are becoming even more prevalent now because we're living longer and we're under stress in our megacities. And of course, with the advent of climate change and environmental factors, getting food is becoming a problem. But synthetic biology cuts across many sectors of life. You have the health sector and you have the non-health sector. At the moment, health sector is leading, and synthetic biology is mainly applicable in our health sector. Who is the lion's share of the participation in synthetic biology? It's usually the pharmaceutical companies, and then next governments and the military and other entities. Now, this map is why we are actually having this conference. If you look at this graph on the left, it's the number of synthetic biology publications that are happening around the world. And if you look at the map of Africa, you can see that really there are no synthetic biology activity on the continent of Africa. Most of it, with those heavy green dots, are in the Americas, in Europe, and in South America, and all the way in Asia. So, the paucity of synthetic biology in Africa means a number of things for us. It means Africa will be the net importer of synthetic biology technology products at huge expense. We won't know how to legislate, detect, or regulate it. Products can be deployed against us in acts of aggression, and we won't be able to compete in a rapidly expanding knowledge economy. So, as I look at all of you, you're all human beings, but essentially you're made up of genetic material, your genetic code. And what you do every day is interact with other genetic code in your environment. And so we live in a life of genetic interaction. And so how do we regulate this scenario where we are now modifying the genetic code of ourselves and of the environment in which we live? This is the key, because we are now being able to create new life forms. And you heard what Professor Wolabi said, that we are creators now. It's no longer theory. We are adjusting life forms, and we're making new life forms and almost taking on the mantle of God the Creator. So here, in talking about regulation, this is a very interesting story. Some of you may have heard about it. A professor in China was seeing a couple. The parents wanted to have children, and they were HIV carriers. And so this professor decided that he was going to perform a genetic manipulation on the embryos and transform them into a human being that was resistant to HIV. A very simple genetic manipulation, and he was able to do that. And he did it in 2018, and they gave birth to these two little twins, and it made landslide breaking news around the scientific community. But guess what? He was sentenced to jail for 3 years. And he has just, right now, come out, finished his sentence. Why was he sentenced? Because he did not comply with ethical regulatory formats of his environment. So in this case, we had a situation where a scientist was way ahead of his governance or his regulatory framework in his environment. Right now, we have something called gain-of-function research. And many countries around the world are performing gain-of-function research on microbes. What does gain-of-function mean? It means that scientists are able to take a microbe, that is a bacteria or a virus, tinker around with its genomic code and make it more aggressive and be able to be transmitted easier, faster, cause sickness, more sickness, and in fact kill more people. Now you might ask, why are people actually performing this kind of experiment? They perform this kind of experiment because they know that in nature these great gain-of-function mutations actually happen. So they want to be ahead of the game, where they are performing gain-of-function research in very high security laboratories, what we call BSL-4 laboratories. In Lagos, we only have a BSL-3 laboratory, the only one of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa. But there is another lab called a BSL-4 where they carry out these kinds of manipulations. The security around a BSL-4 is such that these kinds of pathogens will not be allowed to escape or to affect the people working in that kind of environment. We don't have one yet in sub-Saharan Africa, but as you will hear as I speak in the next few minutes, that we're planning to acquire one. So gain-of-function research is very, very critical to us because while it has to be performed under very strict regulation, there is always an opportunity that a mistake can happen and this pathogen could escape into the environment. Many of you are conspiracy theorists who read about COVID and HIV and all kinds of pathogens and constantly are beginning to wonder whether some of these pathogens are the result of escape of gain-of-function research. Now, coming back to our backyard here, we have a disease called sickle cell disease. It is a genetic mutation which is inherited, and we have almost 1 in every 4 people in this environment is a carrier of that gene. And when 2 people who carry the gene come together and have a child, it is very possible that of the 4 children, 1 of your 4 children will carry the double gene. And when you carry the double gene, you are known as a sickler. And it is a very painful and debilitating disease. And it is obviously of preference to prevent children being born with sickle cell disease. But unless we're screening our citizens, we will not be able to tell when 2 people with the carriers come together. But now, synthetic biology has found the cure. What they've been able to do is to go into the cell of a child with sickle cell and switch on a type of hemoglobin that the child had when they were very, very young and inside their mother's womb. It's called the fetal hemoglobin. And when you switch that on, it overrides the sickle cell. And if you can switch it on, you will now start producing a normal hemoglobin, and you will hopefully be able to have a normal life. This is an example of genetic manipulation that we are going to be performing on human beings in the next few years. It has just received accreditation, and therefore it is going to be available to us as human beings and in Nigeria. It's gone through its normal ethical control to make sure that there's very little risk associated with it, but we don't know. Thank you. We don't know because it has never been trialed in Africa. And so this kind of technology must go through the federal agency, and we must be aware of it, because if it is something that we feel will be of benefit to us, then we must first of all be sure that there will be no long-term consequences to this kind of manipulation of human genomics. So basically, you take a sickler, you take their blood out, you do a genetic manipulation on it, and then you put it back into the patient, and that stem cell that you put back in starts to produce a normal kind of hemoglobin. So what are we doing in Lagos in terms of synthetic biology, or preparing for synthetic biology, or preparing to protect ourselves from synthetic biology, the detrimental effects of synthetic biology? So as government, we have certain responsibilities. Our responsibility is to build awareness. As you heard the special advisor say that this conference is achieving at least the building of awareness amongst ourselves as government, but also amongst the public. And very importantly, amongst our legislators, the people that write our laws, because we have to develop laws around synthetic biology. As government, we have to develop those policies, guidelines, and laws in a robust manner. And we have to be able to regulate and enforce those laws. Not like the professor in China who went ahead of the law and performed an experiment on a human species without proper regulatory governance and ethical clearance. And that was why he spent 3 years in prison. We as government also now have to create an enabling environment for our scientists in academia and for private sector to be able to compete. All these kinds of things that we're hearing about in America and in Europe and in Asia, are we just going to be the recipients of this kind of development, or are we going to develop ourselves just like in the fintech industry, whether we can develop ourselves in the medical industry to be at the cutting edge of knowledge derivation? We can't be left behind. As you heard Professor Owolabi, and I was amused at Professor Owolabi's presentation. I don't know how many of you got it, but one of his slides showed us that we are already in the 5th industrial revolution. I thought he made a mistake, but I don't think he's made a mistake. I think he's actually, and this is the first time I've heard it, I don't know whether it is your derivation or whether we are already in the 5th industrial revolution, but that is quite amazing. And if you listen to his talk yesterday, he was positioning Africa, because of our youth bulge and the very extremely intelligent people we have on the continent compared to the quantity that is in the developed, the northern hemisphere, we are actually in a position to drive the 5th industrial economy. And if that's so, then we have to start to prepare and put things in place for us to take up that position. Ultimately, as government, we are the public protectors, and we must ensure that whatever we're doing in this environment is safe for the collective. So, in Lagos, we're generally improving health systems and improving Lagos State's resilience to biological shocks. What we're doing is building what we call the Lagos State BioShield. We deployed it during COVID. What does that mean? It means that we limited the number of people that were bringing in dangerous pathogens into Lagos Center. And even when they did come in, we were able to slow their ability to move it from one person to the other. This requires activity with international organizations like the International Federation of Biosafety Associations and the UNFCCC. We belong to all these organizations, and we're deploying systems in Lagos to be part of that BioShield. So this is the biobank that you heard about. You heard Professor Rotimi talk about this biobank. It was designed just in time for COVID. Based on our experience in Ebola, we thought, as Lagosians, we can't have gone through Ebola and then not develop capacity for the next thing. Otherwise, people will say, well, what did you learn from Ebola? So after Ebola and realizing what Ebola did to many countries in West Africa, we knew that we had the grace of God on our side, and it didn't become a full-blown pandemic in Lagos. Otherwise, Lagos may not be where we are today. Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea have not yet recovered 10 years later from Ebola. And we just thank God that that didn't happen to us. So we built this biobank. My predecessor, Dr. Jide Idris, with support. I was a consultant to the government then as we put this together. And thank God it came together just in time. This is a very elaborate facility. Inside here is a biobank, a BSL-2 and a BSL-3 laboratory. That's biosafety level. You can keep dangerous pathogens in here. It has a filtration system that does not allow the pathogens to escape. And the people that work in this biobank are trained, and they're certified as biorisk experts. Because we dealt with so much information during COVID, we had to get what's called sensitive data compliance. And Lagos State Ministry of Health was the first agency, I believe, to be compliant with the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation. You heard Professor Rotimi talk about economics, economics, and this basically is the attempt to understand the genomic diversity of people that call themselves Lagosians. We're going to be able to deploy this inside the biobank because we have the infrastructure and the capacity to do this kind of research. And it's very important for us to know this so that we can use that data also for policy initiatives and policy drives. If we know what our population is sensitive to, what we can predict, the types of diseases that we will develop as a population, we can tell what impact our environment is having on us, we can tell what kinds of diseases we're resistant to. This kind of information is critical to us as a government to ensure the protection of our citizens. This is just some of our staff at the biobank being trained by experts from abroad on gene sequencing and molecular biology and bioinformatics. During COVID, we were able to sequence the COVID variants and be able to tell what the different types of variants. Remember, we had the Delta, we had the Micron, and they had all kinds of variants. And we were always ahead of the game, understanding which variants were coming into Lagos and understanding the natural history of the variants and making plans to make sure they didn't affect our population. This is the future. That biobank I just showed you, we soon realized was too small. We thought it was big when we were building it, but during COVID, we realized it was too small. And so we're designing now what's called the Infectious Disease Research Institute. It has been designed. We've already broken ground at Yaba, and we're preparing the site for building the foundation. This is an extremely complicated facility. It has a BSL-4 in it, so it will be the first BSL-4 in sub-Saharan Africa. It also has an animal BSL-4 and a human BSL-4. And so inside this facility, we'll be able to do continuous research to ensure that Lagos is aware of pathogens that are prevailing, what their natural history could be. It will be a place where we can collaborate with international scientists and keep Lagos constantly on the cutting edge of understanding. It's an ecological design, low carbon footprint, like all our futuristic health buildings are all low carbon footprint and low carbon maintenance. We set up the Lagos State Biosecurity Governance Council. This is a very high-powered ethical committee. As you can see in that committee, you have a number of professors, Professor Akeoshi Bogun, Professor Shade Ogunshola, the VC, and many other people from different spheres of Lagos. And this council meets to deliberate around concepts of biosecurity and things like synthetic biology, to make sure that we're constantly protecting the biological sovereignty and enabling us to keep on the cutting edge of what I described as the Lagos State BioShield. It's a high-powered committee, and it's there that meets regularly to deliberate on issues of concern to us. We are also developing the Lagos State policy and legislation around biobanking and biosecurity with a view to developing a biosecurity agency in Lagos. We discovered during COVID that we lacked the industrial capacity and the innovation pipelines to meet up with a pandemic of the nature of COVID. And so we've conceptualized the LASMIZO. It's called the Lagos State Medical Industrial Innovation Zone. And in this LASMIZO project, we're going to be driving innovation through innovation hubs, innovation pipelines, biobanks, manufacturing, and bioinformatics, and the ability to do things like the things that we talked about all morning, so that we can derive outcomes that allow us as a state and as a country to start to put our country on the map of biosynthesis and artificial biology. These are my last slides. I don't know how many of you have seen this prediction, but they say that in the next 60 years, Africa's population is going to quadruple in red. Whereas in blue, you have a representation of Europe, and the population of Europe is, if not stagnant, declining. And Professor Mayowa referred to that. So what does that mean for us? It means for us in Africa that we're going to be a continent of megacities. And Lagos is that leading megacity. And what we're trying to do is develop Lagos as the model megacity. And across the continent, we're going to have megacities. Megacities have peculiar problems. They have problems with megacity health, megacity toxicity, and megacity bioinsecurity. Because in megacities, contagions spread very quickly by nature of the density of people that live very close to each other. As we saw during COVID, during each and every one of our waves, there was a very, very, very fast transmission of the pathogen through our megacity. And so megacities, by their nature, are very vulnerable. You want to give me water? Thank you. So in the future, if we're not careful, we might not just be building houses, but we might be building atmospheres, where you build a house inside a controlled artificial atmosphere. Is that pure water? Is it pure water? Thank you. And so we don't want to get there, which is why we have the likes of the Commissioner of Science and Technology, LASEPA. We want to anticipate things to make sure that as a community that we are taking biosecurity very seriously, and you can see from this picture the seriousness on the faces of, of government officials. You know, this was during COVID, and you know, it was a very worrying time for us. We didn't get much sleep. Month after month, we were hit by waves and waves and waves. But what is important, and I just want to say this before I leave, that globally, there is very, very little governance around genetic manipulation. Every country is somewhat doing their own thing. In America, they've left it to industry and academia. And in Asia, particularly China, the government is very much in control, driving an agenda. But there is no standard of regulatory ethics around synthetic biology. If you think about synthetic biology and what we've heard about all this morning, synthetic biology can be extremely valuable to us as a global community addressing many of our problems both in health, environment, and agriculture. But if it is not regulated, it could be extremely devastating. And so it is very important for us to be able to generate a global, harmonized regulatory framework. And if it's not there, then we in Lagos and in Nigeria and in Africa, we have to do our own, because we have to raise our standard, but we also have to understand what synthetic biology is and how to protect ourselves from synthetic biology. On that note, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Sam. I was going to be tempted to ask that picture should actually come on back. I wanted to look at the deputy governor's face now. He's laughing. In 2020, there was no laughter on their faces. As a matter of fact, Professor Abayomi was my guest on NTA Morning Ride when it came in terms of creating awareness. I still have that picture. I was laughing during that interview. You weren't laughing. I'm very sure in your mind you were like, what is wrong with this young man? Does he not know the situation we're dealing with? You know? But luckily for us, I understand, I think Professor Owolabi had said, we need to eat vegetable. A lot of us were eating vegetable. I guess that is why some of us didn't come down with the COVID issue. Whether they call it Gbogbo Nishe. They say Ewedu was the leading, you know. That time I ate Amala and Ewedu, you know, so much more that even when you look at me, you know that I'm COVID resistant. You know, that was some of the beautiful things. And I think a lot of our traditional medicines, as you have said, in terms of the research, should also be explored if we have indigenous elements within our own environment that we can tap into to help create some of these solutions. Because we're Africans, and then we are dark-skinned, you know, except from the Honorable Commissioner of Health. He's not dark-skinned. When he placed that picture of the biosecurity and we saw a black guy saying biosecurity, I had to look at the Honorable Commissioner. I said, why didn't he get a picture of him that look alike? You know, and all of that. But it tells you the fact that as Africans, we need to be able to synchronize and build that synthesis. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please, I would like to ask my technical guys if we are very ready. We have our wonderful deputy chairperson of this conference that is going to be coming up next. And so, representing the Executive Governor, Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, here is the Deputy Governor, Lagos State, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat. Please, can we put our hands together for him as he comes up to make his presentation. Ekpatewo, put your hands together for him. It's not an easy task. Thank you so very much, sir.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Please, let's be seated. Thank you very much. The Honorable Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi. You can't hear. I'm sorry. So members of Lagos State Executive Council that are here, Professor Akin Abayomi, Commissioner for Health, Commissioner for Innovation, Science and Technology, Mr. Tumboson Alake, thank you very much. This Special Advisor on Health, Mrs. Kemi Ogunyemi. Now I'm trying to pronounce like, I'm trying to be like you. Members, body of permanent secretaries, are present, especially the permanent secretary. There are so many, so I'd like to mention all the names. But let me just use Dr. Olusegun Oboye as the point of contact. So please shake everybody for me. Thank you very much. In your numbers, thank you very, very much. The President, Nigerian Medical Association, NME Dr. Benjamin Olowo Jebutu. You must have a lot of money going by that name. Of course, the Chief Operating Officer of GET Consortium, Dr. Ayodotun Bobadoye. The General Manager, CEO, National Biosafety Management Agency, Dr. Agnes Yemisi Asagra. Professor Solomon Rotimi, one of our speakers, clinical professor of biochemistry, and of course, genomic expert at Lagos State Biobank and Security, and of course, Director, Center for Genomics and Precision Medicine, College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, Professor Mayowa Wolabi. Well, they try to introduce a lot of people, but I don't have all the names, so let me also say I stand on the well-established protocol. I can't find the protocol here, but I guess I'm standing on it. Distinguished invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, or is it good morning? Well, to be honest, after I've listened to Professor Owolabi, I've listened to Professor Abayomi, Professor Ruth, all of them, I'm not sure whether I should be scared or whether I should be excited. But that's our reality, so we must deal with it. I'm honored, therefore, to join all of us this morning at this night in the series of this conference organized by Emerging Treatment Consortium with the support of Lagos State Government. Of course, it is with joy that one is here to listen to eminent scientists and, of course, our professors, our entrepreneurs, talking about issues that has to do with biosecurity. So we must applaud the Ministry of Health, led by Professor Akinola Abayomi, and of course, our private sector partner, Dr. Ayodotun Bobadoye, on their consistent hosting of this annual biosecurity conference over the years. Through this tireless effort, so they've led the way in discussion of this subject and devised cutting-edge strategies that advance biosafety and biosecurity preparedness and capacity of Lagos State and the country at large. And I was talking to Professor Abayomi that the challenge with us is that we deal with a lot of mundane issues as a people, and that things like this that really affect humanity, we don't really push it. You know, we talk about, somebody was asking me some few days ago about the rail. Said, how much are you owing? And I said, oh, is that the way you look at it? No, sorry, I'm not looking at it like that. I went to University of Ibadan, Prof, and I did engineering. I never saw a mixture as an engineering student. Nobody taught me how to mix concrete. Well, I know it theoretically, I've seen it, the Y, the X, and all those. But what does it mean? So people doing the bridges, as an engineering student, you will never see it again. When we were doing the Lekki Link Bridge, we turned a 360 millimeter steel, we turned it 90 degrees. It's a subject of PhDs. There are only 6 machines in the world that's able to do that. 2 of them were here in Lekki. So that's the human capacity that we should build. So you're building, there is no sub-sovereign in the world, the whole world, that has built rail on a balance sheet. None. It's only Lagos State. Now it's nation. So when our public commentary is about, so you go to all those airports in New York. They are building the 8th terminal. The president of Queensboro was in Lagos. Guess why he came to Lagos? They were researching why is it that because of the black population in the city, in New York City, especially in Queens, they were wondering why they were not able to get traction with fintechs and the rest. And they were checking around the world. Where can we see black people doing this? So we can learn. Guess what they found? They found it is Lagos. And that's why they came. And they were able to understand what it means to do that. And they are, like I said, we are building the 8th terminal. Guess what? It's $8 billion. It's a debt. So when you go to all these fantastic airports and everything, how do they build it? So, and the reality is what, if we did not build that blue line at the time we did, we can't do it again. We cannot. So it started during BRF's time, Governor Fashola. The first coach, we bought it $16 million, the first. Today is $49 million. So if we had not bought at that time, where are we going to get it now? So the reality is, we must push narratives that really, enhances our capacity as a people, not mundane issues. There are mundane issues all over the world. Mundane is not a Nigerian word. It's an English word. So it means it happens everywhere. So why is it that it's that we elevate and keep the important ones behind us? Sorry, so let me go back to my speech. The theme of this conference, maximizing benefits and understanding risk of synthetic biology and other emerging biotechnologies in Africa, I think is very important given what we've listened to this morning. This is in view of our current realities with new and unforeseen health emergencies that require urgent and precise responses that speaks to a proactive readiness of a government committed to the welfare of its people. As we are all aware, Lagos State is the smallest state in terms of land in Nigeria, 0.4% of the land mass of the country. But it's also the most densely populated, being home to more than 20 million people, about 10 to 11% of Nigerian population. Therefore, we also accommodate the biggest air and sea port in Nigeria. And of course, we are one of the largest economies in Africa. So these statistics are good, and they present enormous economic benefits to the state through trade and tourism. But it also exposes us to vulnerability and, of course, to biosecurity shocks. And that's why when Ebola hit, it was Lagos. When COVID hit, it was Lagos. So the threats are always there. And as such, it is important that what we are talking about today is very important. So our responsibility as a state government is always to safeguard residents of the state from security threats, be it physical or biosecurity. In the last 4.5 years, our commitment to strengthening and improving health security has been resolute through our proactive, comprehensive, and inclusive program encapsulated in what we call the Themes Plus agenda. This agenda promotes the improvement of our environment, of course, our health. Some of the programs that we have dealt with, mentioned earlier by Professor Abayomi, investment in genomic sequencing and surveillance, an increase in the outbreak of public health emergency in the state in the last decade, from Ebola in 2014 to the annual outbreak of Lassa fever, and of course COVID-19 pandemic has justified the need to establish a biobank facility in the state to deepen our capacity to contain and respond to all biological threats. Our administration has made several efforts to sustain these initiatives and improved on it through the incorporation of genomic laboratory in the facility, in recognition of the importance of genomic surveillance and intelligence in containing infectious diseases outbreak. Our government procured one of the most efficient and sophisticated sequencing machines for the biobank facility. With this added equipment, we have been able to obtain intelligence on infectious diseases outbreak, such as documentations and tracking of different variants of COVID-19 strains, as shown by the Commissioner for Health, and what is called the Marburg strains present within the state. Currently, this lab is progressively working on cancer genomic project with a clear focus to lead a campaign on personalized medicine. Also with this, we've been able to develop strains of experts in genomic sequencing capacity among Lagos State government staff. I think that the office of Dr. Asabra, Mr. Asabra, has a lot to learn from us. You know, I don't think you probably have what we have, but you know, we will help you. It's our job to help you, okay? Because it's in our interest to make sure that. So, Prof, please, we must help. We must help. She's a Lagosian, you know, so we must help her so that she can succeed at the federal level. Currently, the genomic laboratory is progressively working, okay, on cancer genomic project with a clear focus to lead. Okay. Also, with this, we have been able to develop strain of experts in genomic sequencing capacity among Lagos State government staff. Another one, of course, is the establishment of an infectious disease research institute. The hoarding of and reluctance of some countries to trade vaccines with developing nations, especially Africa, during COVID-19 outbreak, highlights the need to initiate infrastructure and capacity for self-development vaccines and treatment of infectious diseases. While the attitude of the developed nations may be resentful or obnoxious, well, the truth is they have the right to take care of their own people first. And of course, it is therefore our own right to start developing programs that can help our own people also first. So there is no justification for any government to appear now ill-prepared to meet the need of its citizens, especially during emergencies. This informed our decision to establish the Lagos State Infectious Diseases Research Institute to increase our state resilience to future pandemics and epidemics through research and training. The institute will support the development of new treatments and vaccines and train the next generation of researchers and clinicians to combat infectious diseases. The state-of-the-art project, as said, is just starting to be built, and is going to stand on 5,296 square meters of land in the heart of Lagos. The second one, which somebody spoke about earlier, was the Lagos State SHIP project. That is Smart Health Information Platform. As we all know, information is power, and our government realized the need to develop a comprehensive real-time database showing the number and location of persons with illness in any affected area. This allows for rapid collection and analysis of patient epidemiological information and can trigger detailed investigation on the suspected health concern. Accordingly, we conceptualize and develop an e-health strategy, Smart Health Information Platform, to connect the entire ecosystem in our state. This will enable connectivity and strengthening of the healthcare system and governance in the state to deliver better, faster, and healthcare system. The third is the promotion of One Health initiative. Our administration has been able to eliminate inefficiencies in terms of silo efforts and activities in healthcare provision. In its stead, we reiterate and stress the importance of collaborative, cross-disciplinary, and multi-sectoral approach that promotes a sustainable environment, overall good health, and can address urgent, ongoing, or potential health threats at the human-animal environment interface, as demonstrated by some of the programs that Professor Abayomi, the Commissioner for Health, has spoken about. The third one, or the fourth one, is the Science and Technology Initiative. Because remember when Professor, like you said, the man is a super nerd. He's still on his computer looking for, always reading. Prof, well done. So the other one, when he was speaking, he said what government can do. And I'm happy that the Honorable Commissioner for Ministry of Innovation, Science and Tech mentioned it. For Science and Technology Initiative, in recognition of what science and technology means in terms of driving anything, especially our biosecurity agenda, our government has embarked on several programs that enhance biosecurity preparedness and responses. Recently, we launched a strategic initiative tagged Lagos State Medical, Industrial, and Innovation Zone that Prof has spoken about. This will improve our ability to manufacture medical products and consumables and serve as an innovation pipeline. LASMISO underpins our belief in the significant role of technology in healthcare management. We also have what is the LASRIC, the Lagos State Research and Innovation Council, that is headed by a professor of biochemistry, University of Lagos. What that body does is to look for, so Prof, if you have any initiative projects, that's where to go. They fund it. So they look for projects. So you see professors there that evaluate all these projects, and that's what we came up to. I think we've had some few patents. So we've had some few patents, and there are so many also in the pipeline. So the objective is to make sure that some of those researches in our institutions actually come to the market. So that's what LASRI is all about. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this conference is another unique opportunity for us to build on the ongoing effort of our state to ensure overall health for our citizens, our environment, and the overall health ecosystem. I urge you to bring your expertise to the fore as we continue to innovate for a healthier and safer Lagos State. Let me at this junction again thank the community of health experts here, and of course, Ministry of Health, led by Professor Akin Abayomi and his team, Dr. Ayodotun Babadoye, the CEO of GT Consortium, and of course, all the experts that are soaking, Professor Abayomi, Professor Rotimi, and so many other people, NMA chairman and Medical Guild. So I'm confident that the deliberation and discussion that will be held here today will no doubt bring up a framework and chart a course for us to achieve our goal of a healthier and a safer environment in Lagos and of course in our country, Nigeria. Let me therefore use this opportunity to assure all of us of the fact that we will do whatever it takes to protect the health of our state. The reality is there are many challenges, there are many issues that need to be resolved. However, we make sure, and I'm sure yesterday we were discussing the 2024 budget, and Professor Abayomi was always raising his hand. Oh, they want this, they want that. I said, well, our challenge in Lagos is not capacity to implement projects. Our challenge is revenue. So if you give Lagos State, and you know, the notion is that, oh, we are a rich state or we are a rich nation. It's debatable for me. It's debatable for me. So our budget last year was 1.7 trillion. Now let's even use 500 to a dollar. Let's use, because at that time, you know, so that's about $4 billion, not even up to. That's for 3.5. So the reality is that I'm not a city of New York in the US, population 7 million. The police department has a budget of $4.7 billion. So what are we talking about? The child welfare office, where they take care of children, has a budget of 11.2 billion US dollars. The Metropolitan for transportation, $26 billion. So the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, we are not rich. We have the capacity to be rich. And therefore, what is important is how do we develop down the human capacity to make sure that we get to that stage. So I wish you an engaging time during this conference, and I hope that this forum will transform into a platform to raise national, regional, and continental awareness. I also hope that we create opportunity to strengthen regulatory framework and policy gaps that will ultimately address the biosecurity concerns associated with synthetic biology at national and regional level. So it gives me this pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat. We'll give your indulgence to please spare us some few more minutes. We know you've done well for us. I want to quickly mention to you, sir, and I hope that I get you a copy of this. Last year, this was published. Please have a seat. I'm not the governor that you people are standing for. Please sit down, sit down. All right. Understanding One Health for Students. We are dealing with the future. I'm very sure that the Deputy Governor will get a copy as he's going. Now we have also a journal from GET Consortium. It's important for us to codify all of this. And I know when you were talking about the fact that we are not a rich state, we have the capacity to be rich. I could notice that 2 of your hands were up, you know, and that was a very, very special, sensitive matter. I'm not too sure anybody will say Lagos is not a rich state, but obviously it means that we have that capacity And Lagos has been in the forefront of innovation. We want to say a big thank you for honoring us, sir, with your presence here. And then we can assure you that through the health department, the ability to actually create that level of wealth is one of the areas we can leverage on. So I want to say a big thank you. And I'll crave your indulgence to just spare us some few minutes after the vote of thanks so that we can capture this moment for future references. Like you can see, when Professor Abayomi presented what you were looking like in 2020, you were not smiling. Today again, when you were talking about the fact that we need money, something billion, you were not smiling, sir. Your face was very serious. We want to be able to capture you when you are smiling, sir, before you leave, so that we can tell next year, when we are giving a report, we can see that we have moved from this point, and this is where we are. And of course, Lagos State is obviously going to help drive that. And we know that there is no beef between Lagos and Oyo State. Prof. Oga said it. Neither is there any beef between any of this agency with MBMA. You're a Lagosian, so our tiwa you fill in the gap. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great honor to invite the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Ministry of Health, Dr. Olusegun Ogboye, as he gives his remarks and his vote. Thank you.
The Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat, a man who is a very committed supporter of the health sector. I know that by the sheer number of approvals that we harass him for and we get out of him, but also a man who reads a lot about health. He has challenged us several times about things he's read, about why some indices are not moving in the direction that they should be moving. So definitely he's a man who stays abreast of developments in health. Thank you very much, sir. The members of the State Executive Council that are here with us, particularly the Honorable Commissioner for Health and the Special Advisor for Health. My colleagues in the body of permanent secretaries, thank you very much. Heads of our ministerial departments and agencies, the Chief Operating Officer, GET Consortium, Dr. Bobadoe, our speakers at this conference, including the lead speaker, Professor Mayowa Owolabi, other experts and professionals in biosecurity and One Health, stakeholders and partners that are here with us, our distinguished invited guests. My task here is just to thank everyone for taking the time out. I mustn't leave out the heads of our health associations that are here with us as well. My task here is just to say thank you to everyone who has taken time out over the past 2 days to be with us and to ask that even after the Deputy Governor leaves, please let's stay and listen to the presentations that are still here. Thank you very much.
Please, let's recognize our host. He has made this quite well for us. Thank you very much. And of course, our sponsors that have done this well. Dear Deputy Governor, with the power invested on me as the executive MC of the 9th African Conference on One Health and Biosecurity, please, I would like to ask that you come up here and stand. I'm the only one in this place that can tell you to come up here, sir, so that we can have this moment captured. So please, quickly, we have 3 or 4, 5 sets of pictures. Just the first row. Sir, you can be here, understand. Okay, Prof, you come. SA, come. And no, just a moment. You guys can wait. I will come to you. Prof, you can wait. No, we need a press photo yet. We have several stuff and the PS. Not to worry, I will coordinate it, sir. Not to worry. Just a moment. Okay, are we ready? Please smile. Can I have, please, quickly, the commissioners and members of the, they're all there. Okay, so I'm going to ask them to please kindly go back to their seat, so that not you all. The governor, the deputy governor can remain, the commissioner remain, as well as COO remain. PS please remain, and then SA and commissioner can take their seat. All right. So please, can we have the speaker and the rest of them to come and join us? Please don't take your seat again. No, stay. Please come, madam. You come. Can I have Prof, the other speakers, to please come join them? All right. Please, can I have my speakers please come up and join? Cameraman, are you capturing all of them? Okay, so we are going to now go in for the permanent secretaries, but we hold on, let the rest of the members please leave so that I just want the deputy governor, I want the commissioner for health, I want PS and COO, okay? And please, permanent secretaries, please come up, come up here. All right, can I have the permanent secretaries please to please come join them? Please, you can come to the back. Permanent secretaries and madam, please, you're representing the commissioner. She's representing the commissioner of justice. You have to, if they don't see you in the picture, they'll think you didn't come. So please, let's make sure. Photographers, are we good? It's lopsided, please. We have two more pictures to go. 2 more pictures. Are you smiling? Okay, please, can I have my sponsors? My sponsors here, quickly come up. My sponsors, please come up. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go back to your seat while the deputy governor and the rest can still remain. My sponsors, please come up quickly. Can I have my sponsors come up? NMA as well. NMA, you can wait. NMA has taken his own now. Okay, wait a minute. I'll call you guys. Please, sponsors this way. My sponsors this way. Some of you can stay on the podium so that they can see your face very well. Okay, you don't need to climb the podium. We can see you from anywhere. All right, that is a concentric. Thank you. Head of agencies and directors here. Head of agencies and directors here. Are they here? Okay. Then let us have NMA and Medical Guild, GMA, CMA, ZMA, all of this MA. Please come quickly. Please come quickly. Are we good? Please, some of you can go up. You can go up. Please go up so that we can capture. These are for press. Listen, please go up, so that. Madam, I'm careful when it has to do with women. Yesterday we were told you would live longer than us. We don't want to create. Are we good? Can I have the GET team? The GET team, please ready. All the organizing committee, the GET team, GET consortium team. All right, you guys can go back. You have not. So climb up. You have spaces up there. The deputy governor is even very, very kind. He wants us to take as many pictures so that in the year 2035 we can show the fact that this is where it started. The GET consortium team, please. GET consortium team, please. Can you climb up? Stay by the side. Are you people afraid? Just climb up so that we can no, we need it for the photo session, please. Are we good? Okay, are they good? Have you snapped? Okay, we have two more last ones before the deputy governor can go at the stage. Okay, thank you very much. And then the MC, take. MC, please, MC. Let me stand beside the deputy governor if you don't mind. I can take this one to the bank. All right, are we ready? Thank you very much. Deputy Governor for being. Thank you, sir. Eshe, sir. Thank you so very much, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, please can we be upstanding?
Hear the children
Sorry.
crying.
Thank you very much, Deputy Governor.
Saying, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Saying, let's get together and feel alright. Whoa. Let them all pass all their dirty remarks. There is one question I'd really love to ask. Is there a place for the hopeless sinners who have
Thank you, Deputy Governor.
mankind?
Ladies and gentlemen, tea and coffee is hereby served. Please go and have your tea and coffee. Thank you. Tea and coffee is hereby served.
Let's get together and feel alright. As it was in the beginning, one love. So shall it be in the end. Alright. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Let's get together to fight this holy Gideon. So when the man comes, there will be no doom. Have pity on those who
Ladies and gentlemen, tea and coffee break is served.